more, only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center January 23rd through 25th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners pull off the big-time upset in Philly, defeating the defending champs 23-19. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in the win. The D comes up with a stop in the final minute to secure the win. Niners now travel to Seattle on Saturday for a divisional round playoff game. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports 1140, beginning at 4 o'clock.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
The new year is a great time for reflection, to appreciate all the good things in your life, and to prepare your resolutions, or bucket list as I like to call it. 2026 would be the perfect time to introduce someone new to the game of golf. Let them in on the fun. Or if you've never played, it's a wonderful time to start. Maybe go to a driving range. Maybe take an introductory lesson. If you're an established golfer, maybe you want to get fitted for a new set of golf clubs. Maybe you want to take some refresher lessons to sharpen up your game. Consider a golf getaway, either with your significant other or a group of buddies. It's a great way to play new golf courses, eat some tasty new foods, and certainly laugh a lot with your friends. If you normally use a golf cart, consider walking with a push cart, or maybe even lightening your bag and carrying your golf clubs. Go back and play where you played your first round of golf or your all-time favorite round. Remember why you play the game and how much it means to you. Leave the course in better condition than you found it. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
KHD-KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson. Online at SactownSports.com or on the app. Kings, Niners, and Sacramento. The Matt and Kayla Show starts now.
We made it to 3 episodes. Episode number 3 of Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports, on a big night in Sacramento. The return of the King. Talking about Mike Brown. That was a Lord of the Rings reference. Kayla Anderson, how do you feel about Wednesdays? Like, what's your opinion of the weekday
that's a
Wednesday?
Great question. Put me on the spot, why don't you, this morning? It's kind of one of those things where it is a halfway point, but I am like physically a little bit more tired. So there's positives and minuses to it, because you're like, halfway, but then you're going, physically you're like kind of drained, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like a happy medium.
Not to start things on a negative vibe. Wednesdays are my least favorite day of the week.
They are.
They are my least favorite day of the week, especially during football season, because you're smack down in the middle of, you have no game to react to on Monday night. You're waiting for Thursday night football. It's just kind of a dead day. Thankfully, we have Kings basketball tonight to get us through. But it goes further than that, because like being halfway through something is always difficult for me, because I'm either, this is terrible, but you're halfway through, but I still got half to go. Or, this has been going great, I'm halfway through, there's plenty of time for it to go wrong. And like when I think of halfway through, I think of like PE in high school, and you're running the mile, and you're 2 laps into the 4-lap mile, and you're tired, and you're like, I'm only halfway there.
Yeah.
So
that's a good reference, because as much as I loved running as a younger kid, the mile would make me so nervous. And you're right, like you're kind of like knowing you're halfway through, but you've got that much more to go, and that's when like the breath you'd have to start doing. Okay, gotta work the breath here. Gotta work the breath. Gotta finish strong.
Do you enjoy running?
I did. So when I was younger, Matt and Kyle, I was really good. I was like competitively, like I would run in elementary, in grade school. I got asthma as a kid because we had cats, and my parents never realized the cats were causing the asthma. That so bad, one meet that I had, I collapsed before the finish line. Now I got up and finished, but I had an asthma attack.
Whoa.
So I stopped running for probably like 10 years, and then I picked it up in college again, and then I ran my first marathon when I lived in Bend.
I say this with all respect in the world. Anyone who runs for enjoyment, you're a psychopath. You're a psychopath.
Yeah, now I think about, like, I would not probably do a marathon again.
Why? And I see people, like, running uphill. Why? Why? Get on a bike. Get something with wheels.
I know.
Help yourself out a little bit.
I know. I don't know. My legs were, I guess, born to run.
Well, it's because you're an actual athlete, and I'm just... Like Scott Moak said on the first day, 6'3" of wasted athletic potential. Welcome into the Matt and Kayla Show. Kyle Ledbetter on the other side of the glass, helping us out here as always. Kyle, are you have any emotional charge at all in tonight's return of Mike Brown Kings-Knicks game?
Maybe just a little.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit of emotional charge. I've talked about it before. My feel-good was ruined when they fired Mike Brown and got rid of De'Aaron Fox, as I'm sure it was for a lot of Kings fans. But I've never been able to feel like really good about the team since then. So I want Mike Brown to come in here and smack the Kings around a little bit.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that feel that same way, not just because revenge for Mike Brown, justice for Mike Brown, but also, hey, Kings have won 2 in a row. That was fun, but hey, draft lottery. We gotta let's start losing again. And of course, the New York Knicks are a good team, although bad on the road, surprisingly. Which is funny enough. When Mike Brown was here, the Sacramento Kings were better on the road than they were in their own building, which is very strange.
That's always a thing. I think they had lost like 4 straight here in the last. What are we in January? Before they kind of got back to winning.
Yeah.
But I always wondered that, like, is that just a coincidence that teams can flip flop like that in terms of having success on the road or winning more at home?
Some teams like the adversity, like to silence opposing crowds and feed off of the negative energy versus the positive energy. And Mike Brown used to talk about a lot of times here, like not relying on the crowd to create energy for you, but to create your own energy. So the Kings would come out better or start better on the road versus at home when they felt that they could rely on the energy, but then they would kind of get hit in the mouth early on. It's weird psychological stuff that's way above my pay grade when it comes to talking sports. And everybody or just wish Kayla Anderson good luck today, because at any moment, with how emotionally attached I have become to Mike Brown in that era of Kings basketball, I might just melt into a puddle of tears today. So Kayla,
you need like a counselor here. We need a counselor in this other chair here
I still
today.
need a grief counselor when it comes to the loss of Mike Brown. Kayla, I've made people sick in this town of the amount of times that I've talked about Mike Brown since he was fired. And the day he was fired, let me just take you back to this. The day he was fired,
date, by the way.
December 27th of, what year is it? December 27th of 2024.
Got it memorized.
Yep. Dark day in history. Mm-hmm. It was after the Kings got embarrassed the day after Christmas by the Detroit Pistons. De'Aaron Fox, 4-point play, foul on Jaden Ivey, causes them to lose. De'Aaron takes the podium after the game, drops the line that nobody liked to hear, which is like,
it doesn't really matter.
Yep, that's De'Aaron. It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
It's not going to make anybody feel better.
I love that drop so much.
And
it doesn't really matter.
Well, it's a dark day in history. So he says that, and then Mike Brown comes out, and Mike and De'Aaron are very close. Mike rips De'Aaron, just rips the play, rips the low basketball IQ in the moment. Just a bad decision. This was in the middle of a losing streak for the Kings. Vibes were down. Not nearly as low as they've been this season, but vibes were down. So we go to practice. Mike runs a full practice, and all cameras are just following Mike anywhere because we're wondering, like, is he in trouble? And we see him pull De'Aaron aside for a one-on-one talk. Then he pulls, like, DeMar DeRozan and a couple of veterans aside for a one-on-one talk. Runs a whole practice, steps in front of the media, answers questions to the media, including questions kind of about his job security.
Sure.
Leaves, gets in his car to drive to the airport because they were boarding a plane to fly to Los Angeles for a game against the Lakers the next day. Is fired over the phone before even getting on the plane. And I'm sitting in the Kings practice facility or adjacent to it, editing and getting all this information out. And then the bomb drops that Mike Brown has been fired. And I went back to the ABC 10 studios at the time, immediately recorded a podcast where I started it out clapping and saying, congratulations to the Kings organization for making the worst decision you could possibly make. We're back in basketball hell.
Sure.
And unfortunately, Kayla, I'm kind of right.
You are right. And you know what? I understand the kind of connections to certain coaches because when you're in the media, our jobs, our lives are sports and the teams that we cover. And there are some coaches in your career that you cover that you're like, I can do without. Not anyone ever wanting anyone to get fired, okay? I don't want people to lose their jobs. But sometimes you have to if you're not performing at the right level.
Mike Tomlin.
Exactly. But if you have a special tie with a certain coach or that coach just like is somebody you kind of see in a different light, maybe than other people might even see, it's really hard when that coach gets fired. And especially when that coach gets fired and it's kind of like in a situation like that where he's on his way to go, coach a game.
Yeah.
And it's like Lane Kiffin, which, by the way, he deserves to be fired when he was deserved. I am not standing up for Lane Kiffin. He digs his own grave in situations. But when he was fired on the tarmac, essentially, that kind of stuff. Those stories are so hard to hear, but when they're to good people, it's even harder. Yeah. But having that connection with the coach, I get it. It's tough because it's like you see those coaches in a different light, and they respect you, those coaches that, you have a good connection with.
And regardless of if you think Mike Brown deserved to be fired or not, and there are a lot of people in this city that do believe that it was time for Mike to go at the time. I'm curious how you feel today, and if you want to share that with us, you can, 916-339-1140 or 800-920-1140. But regardless of if you wanted him gone or not, the way he was fired was very disrespectful by the Sacramento Kings. To have him handle a practice, to have him talk to the media, to fire him over the phone. Vivek Ranadive was on vacation at the time when this happened, and we know now via an article from Anthony Slater that he was the one that really encouraged the firing. That's why it took so long for Monty McNair to have a press conference, because it wasn't fully Monty McNair's decision. But you brought up the coaches that you've worked with, and I'm really curious about this from the football perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's not just coaches more in football, it's also coordinators, and you get attachments with these guys, and when you're talking offense, with the offense core. In the NBA, we strictly just talk to the head coach. We know the assistants, but we strictly just talk to the head coach. And people wonder, Matt, why do you have such a connection with Mike Brown? Why Mike Brown? It's two reasons. One, I've been through the coaching carousel with all of y'all here in Sacramento for 2 decades. I'm sick and tired of seeing a new head coach every 2 or 3 years. So it finally felt like we were going to break out of that cycle. We had someone here that could be here for the foreseeable future, could be here long-term like Rick Adelman was. And I idolized Rick Adelman from back in the day. The other part was what I loved and appreciated about Mike is if you didn't understand something in the weeds of basketball, and these coaches know far more than I do or all of us do. We can be critical, but Mike would teach, or Mike would try to explain. Even if I disagreed, Mike would try to explain. There were instances in practice where he'd pull the media out onto the floor and have us walk through offensive sets and what he was trying to do. Again, we might not like it, we might disagree with it, but at least we could understand it so we could criticize it fairly or like he taught, and he'd help meet you in the middle. Not a lot of coaches do that. Did you ever have that experience in football where a coach would because football is, talk about a playbook, even more convoluted than basketball.
It might surprise some people, but Mike Vrabel is somebody that I just have the utmost respect for. And I think it's kind of weird, too, because he has a name in terms of when you've seen clips with the media, there's parts where he's short or he gives like a stubborn answer or something like that. But it goes way beyond the surface level with how he treated media members, especially women in the media. He was really respectful and would really help us too. Like if we had a question about anything, he didn't make it uncomfortable for us to even ask him, not at the podium, like before he went in, for meetings and stuff. If we wanted to chat with him, they'd allow us to ask him a question or whatever without the cameras. And he just, not only that, but he would do things with us for charity. So he'd be like, if you guys ever have charity stuff, let us know, let me know, I'll come do that. So he would support like the Leukemia Lymphoma Society charity that I did, and he'd come speak at events. So there's just, when coaches give that extra kind of access to you as media members, you see way beyond what you see that just gets printed out or that just gets put on X or Twitter. And you're right, they're rare because their lives are so busy and they have so much other stuff to do. It's nice to have coaches like that. So I understand your connection with Coach Brown. I really do. because it's very rare.
Mm-hmm. And as you guys may have seen in any interviews that he even did a media availability yesterday here from the Golden One Center after Knicks practice, and we're going to play some of that audio for you in a little bit. The personality, right? There was a famous time where he was talking about the shoes that he wears. He puts his foot up on the table in the middle of a press conference. He once stopped a press conference to ask me about Dungeons and Dragons. This is a pregame press conference before a game starts. And I asked him a question, couldn't even tell you what the question was. He answers it and then stops answering it and then kind of looks at me and I'm like, oh God, did I piss off Mike Brown? What did I do? And he goes, I heard you like Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, oh no, I'm going to get mocked by Mike Brown here. And he's like, I used to play all the time. My son plays stuff like it was like, again, there are people that have accused me, and rightfully so. The only reason you like Mike Brown is because he was nice to you and didn't treat you like a nerd. Kinda.
Well, yeah. Do you want us to lie?
Yes, but he also.
When you're a nerd, you do tend to like those people.
I connected with my fellow nerd who happens to be in a pinnacle of coaching in basketball.
Yep.
But there's those elements of it, and then there are the amount of respect that I have for the man, the leader that he was, and he would become a hard ass at the right times, and he would rip into guys at the right times. And I know that there were frayed relationships in that locker room, which you're never fully blameless for. You're the leader, you're responsible, things like that. We don't have to get too far into the weeds of what happened with Mike Brown. If you want that, I released an episode of the Matt George podcast yesterday where I went in depth building off of an article that Anthony Slater put out for ESPN that walked through essentially the fall of the Beam team, right? And everything that happened from the DeMar DeRozan signing to Mike Brown being fired and the Kings trading De'Aaron Fox. And the purpose of the article is to explain to kind of everybody how ownership is involved, how Vivek Ranadive is involved, his over-involvement. And so I did a podcast talking about some of the stuff that Slater laid out, but also adding on to it about how life became a lot more difficult for Mike Brown once the playoff season ended. Mm-hmm. Because suddenly there was such a desire, there was such a hunger to get back to the playoffs by ownership, and rightfully so. We all felt the same way that Vivek did. We got to get back there. It's great.
You get a taste of it, right?
Now we got to build upon it. We got to do this. We got to do that. There was this eagerness to yes, we finally made it. Now let's build. And so I can relate to Vivek, relate to Kings ownership completely in that mindset. But that in turn created something counterproductive, which is a pattern that we've seen in Vivek Ranadive's ownership tenure of getting over-involved. So I lay out on that podcast. I can get into details here if we want to, but I want to ask something about you, Kayla, because when we discussed that, and you were nice enough to listen to the podcast a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I listened.
You immediately said, I can relate to that. I've seen that in Tennessee with the Titans. And as we know, when it comes to not the best, most stable organizations in their particular sport, the Sacramento Kings and Tennessee Titans are on pretty similar ground.
They are. That's why it's so ironic that I'm here, and I love that I'm here, and I like kind of the challenge of having to deal with adversity even when I'm covering teams, because it is trickier. It's not easy when you're having to deal as a media member either, or fans, when you're seeing change all the time. Mm-hmm. It's hard for everybody. And so when you were on the podcast yesterday and specifically said the words, too many cooks in the kitchen, it triggered me. It triggered me for the fact that when I was in the mix of it for 8+ years in Tennessee, I think I was a little closed-minded to really what the actual big problem was. And Amy Adams-Strunk is the owner. She took over for her father, Bud Adams, right? Who was the owner when they were with the Oilers.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much criticism from the start with Amy, but as things started to change and then instability came, after Mike Vrabel, especially when she fired him, it was one firing after another, and nobody could connect what was really going on or who was making the actual decisions. And so we all just kind of, I think, had different opinions. And I'm like, well, I don't think Amy's really doing all of this. Mm-hmm. I think there's other things going on. But then when I removed myself from the situation, I started to realize, and getting some sources that would come into me saying, Amy is part of the problem. Mm. And it's more so because she's kind of given her trust to all these different people, and there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Mm. And that was the exact wording that was given to me from this source. that why things were such a mess. Well, recently Amy came out with a statement and said, I am saying this right now. Mike Borgonzi, the GM, is making all the decisions from here on out. She doesn't talk to the public, guys, which sounds familiar.
Yep.
But she did make a statement saying, this is what's going on. I feel like that's going on here with Scott Perry.
Almost verbatim.
I feel like that's what we're seeing. Now, we got to see it to believe it.
Sure.
Absolutely. We should all have our, reservations. But I do feel that was similar to the situation.
I think it's almost identical. Two different sports, completely different organizations dealing with a very similar problem. And there's the cliche or the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And she obviously wants to win. The Titans want to win.
They want to win.
They don't want to be
Everyone.
in mediocrity for the rest of time. Same thing with the Sacramento Kings. We're aware the Sacramento Kings are low-hanging fruit, and they've been low-hanging fruit for a long time. Vivek Ranadive has the purest of intentions to build something sustainable and great here. But that also requires, in order to fix a problem, you have to understand what the problem is and when you are part of the problem.
Sure.
And that's where you identify problems through patterns. You identify problems through things reverting back. It's like learn from history. Well, we see history repeat itself a lot, especially in bad ways. So the purpose of, I'm not going to speak for Slater, but the purpose of that article coming out, in my opinion, is to inform everybody, not just Sacramento fans, but everybody of what the problem was and what happened. How did you go from the best story in the NBA to the laughingstock again? And for me, putting out the Matt George podcast yesterday, going into what Mike Brown and his coaching staff dealt with, or even that summer after they were eliminated from the playoffs, to me, that is, again, it's not to continue to drag the Ranadive name through the mud or drag the Sacramento Kings through the mud in any kind of way. It's to, okay, how can the Kings, they've made this mistake multiple times, how does it never happen again? I would like to believe that Vivek, who's an incredibly brilliant man, and the amazingly brilliant people that run the Sacramento Kings, they understand what's happened and what can't happen again, and are truly empowering Scott Perry, who is where Perry is different from Monty and from Pete D'Alessandro and from Vlade Divac. Perry is a seasoned veteran as a general manager. He's been there, done that. He's been around the block. And if there's someone, we've already seen with Perry, if there's someone who's not afraid to say what needs to be said, it seems to be him. So hopefully that matters if Vivek or anybody impulsively tries to get over involved. But I also don't blame, just like I wouldn't blame a single Tennessee Titans fan, I don't blame a single Sacramento Kings fan that goes, I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Yeah.
And even when I see it, I'm going to be skeptical about it until the results are there.
It's so fair. And because I'm even thinking of my own fandom, right? And different teams that I have. And, it's not to the point of what you guys are dealing with here in Sacramento. But it is something where I'm kind of like, I'll accept it. But if it keeps happening over and over and again, then I start to build a wall. And when the wall's built, for me at least personally, you guys tell me what you think and how you guys are, it's really hard to start knocking that down.
You need construction equipment?
I need construction equipment. I need a
dynamite?
A big old, dynamite maybe even, because once that's up, it's up for a while.
My walls go up faster than yours. I won't root for losers anymore. I won't care. Done. I can't do it anymore. I emotionally can't root for losers.
How are you a Padres fan?
They're good now.
Well, that's true.
They're the reason why I can't. My entire childhood, they were terrible.
Well, and you were a Chargers fan at some point when they were
that too.
San Diego.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
I can't care about losers anymore. I just can't do it.
It's hard though. So I understand fans here, and I know, coming into Sacramento, I'm not like unaware either. My sister-in-law is from here. And born and raised. And obviously my brother lives here and everything. So I've been in tune with King stuff from afar for a while, but being in it is such a experience. Can I call it that?
Absolutely.
An experience?
Well, and what's funny, it really is an experience because Sacramento is so unique, unlike anywhere else, to where how much the fans care, how smart they are, how involved they are. And I am never one to tell a fan how to fan, or if I ever do, I'm in the wrong. And I admit that openly. You can react however you want to react to Mike Brown being back. There is no logical explanation in my mind for booing or being upset at Mike Brown, period. If you want to be upset at De'Aaron Fox to some extent for how he exited. I am also, and we'll talk about this more, I'm sure, when Fox and the Spurs come to town eventually. We'll get into that later because I feel very strongly, too, that Fox was done wrong by this organization and was in his right to do what he did. But at the same time, I'm aware that Fox's exit was ugly. Mike Brown's exit was not ugly at all, and the man has done nothing but take the highest of high roads since then when being asked questions and answering questions about his time here. Again, you're going to hear from Mike Brown at some point in the show today. But, Kayla, I can't imagine any negative reaction towards Mike Brown tonight other than, hey, you're the opposing team's coach and we're trying to beat you.
Yeah, exactly. And that you don't get boozed for that. I mean, opposing coaches come in here all the time. I'm with you, and I'm interested to watch tonight and hear because I think you're right. I think these are smart fans, by the way. Again, these are smart fans. I think they know, like, a little bit of this was unfair, and you can't put it all on Mike Brown. And to come back and boo him, I don't think he did you dirty.
Yeah. So to give the Spark Notes version a little bit of what was on the podcast last night, essentially once the playoffs ended, there was a desire for the Sacramento Kings to get back to the playoffs, and essentially the too many cooks in the kitchen, the term that you used that spoke to you, was essentially like it became more difficult for Mike and his coaching staff to have full autonomy to maneuver the team and coach the team and build the team the way that he wanted to do it. He was very defensive focused. Clearly other people there were very offensive focused, and it just became more difficult. Vivek started involving himself more. Vivek's advisor started involving himself more. And that set off an alarm in my head when I started hearing about that over a year ago, because George Karl, who is a former Kings coach, dealt with the exact same thing and told me on my old podcast the exact same thing. We would sit down at a table and our voices would be drowned out by people who aren't basketball decision makers. And I think that's the whole point of this conversation, Kayla, is whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, hire your sports-specific decision makers and let them make those decisions. And I can't imagine how difficult that is for a self-made person like Vivek, who's built his wealth, and other owners around the league. But the smartest thing you can do sometimes is let go. And that's what needs to happen here, and hopefully it's happening.
I'm with you 100% on that.
So we are going to dive more into Mike Brown's return. We have some audio of what he said to the media yesterday. Plus, Kayla, I'm curious how much you think Mike Brown winning the NBA Cup matters earlier this season. Kyle, we'll get your thoughts on that too. It's all coming up next right here on Sactown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
Chick-fil-A's new frosted sodas and floats. It's a 10 out of 10. Hey, this is Lizzie, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You will love having your favorite soda blended with our creamy ice dream to make a new frosted soda or float. With the mix of the ice dream and soda fizz, it's so delicious, I call it Fizzalicious.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
Get more for your money at Elk Grove Chevrolet, where value meets style. Purchase a new 2026 Chevrolet Trax for just $299 per month plus tax. The Trax delivers more for less with a sleek design, impressive fuel economy, and tech that keeps you connected. Conveniently located in Elk Grove, just minutes from Sacramento. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com today for full details and see why the Trax is such a smart choice.
When a person is seriously injured, there's no substitute for the personal legal relationship offered by the local NorCal firm of Ashton & Price. From the first attorney meeting, every important decision is made with a direct consultation with, and I can't believe I have to say this, a real, live, experienced, flesh and blood local attorney. It's called Home Court Advantage for a reason. Ashton & Price, serious local attorneys for serious people with serious injuries with no fee until we win. For the best local advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Guys, low energy, low drive, or strength not what it used to be? For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation to get real answers. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. Call 916-619-3000 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must medically qualify.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert, John Party, Chris Young, Turnpike Troubadours, Dylan Scott, and more. Line dancing, live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park, May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITBFest.com.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
We got a big show for you today. Not only is it Mike Brown's return to Sacramento, playing the Kings tonight, his former team. First time back in the city, at least professionally, since he was fired just over a year ago. We got a lot of great stuff coming for you on the show today. Of course, there's plenty of football to talk about as well, and we're going to go all over the NFL with Steve Wyche from the NFL Network. He's going to join us at 11:05. Excited to talk to him about all of these matchups. We were debating before the show started, too, about what NFC Championship and AFC Championship matchups that America wants. Not us here, because, of course, a lot of people here want the Niners.
Of course.
But what does America want? We should probably...
not all of us want the Niners,
well,
you know?
That's true. That's true over there. But, well, that's Seahawks.
Over here, too, yeah,
I guess.
you know.
Okay, maybe I'm on an island here.
That was the joke I was making.
Maybe I'm on an island here. Regardless, we'll probably get into that a little bit. Excited to go around the NFL with Steve Wyche. Again, that's at 11:05. And then at 1:05, a guy that used to keep this seat warm that I'm sitting in, Deuce Mason, Kings TV pre- and post-game analyst, of course, from the Deuce and Mo podcast. He'll join us to talk a little bit about Mike Brown's return tonight and just what he's feeling, what he's expecting going into this game. The Kings also, by the way, going for their third straight win, which has not happened at any point this season so far. Crazy. So in addition to the Mike Brown stuff, hopefully we're in for a pretty entertaining basketball game, although if you ask me, it's in the best interest for the Sacramento Kings to lose.
Yeah.
We need, hey, you got 2
Calm it down.
You beat the Lakers. That was great. You can lose to the Knicks,
Exactly.
right? You should lose to the Knicks.
Oh, Wizards on Friday.
But that'd be better.
The Tank Bowl.
You know.
And the Wizards are the team that are a game behind. Last I checked, I actually haven't checked Tankathon this morning. I don't know if the Wizards played last night. But the Kings are only a game ahead of the Wizards for that third and final coveted, top draft lottery odds spot. So they got to be careful not to win that game against Washington.
The Wizards play the Clippers tonight.
Go Clippers.
Okay, there you go.
We go Clippers for multiple reasons, Kayla. Because the Oklahoma City Thunder own the Clippers draft pick from the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade.
I remember that.
So the worst the Clippers do is better for the OKC, and we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that.
We don't need any of that.
No.
Mike Brown did a media availability yesterday. I believe this audio coming from our friend Jake Gaden at CBS 13 here in Sacramento. And Mike got some time to speak about just his time in Sacramento. He was asked what he learned in his time being the head coach of the Kings.
Man, you know, every day you feel like you're learning, whether you're learning from something good or something bad. But there were a lot of stuff to learn, trying to figure out different types of problems that we had, trying to enhance whatever we had that was good here. And so there's just a tremendous amount of growth that I went through here, not just on the floor, but also out in the community too. I really enjoyed being out in the community and getting to know the people out there. So that was a lot of fun as well.
Mike was very community-oriented. We'd always see him at high school football games. He lived up in El Dorado Hills, so we'd see him at Oak Ridge football games all the way up there. He stopped by a Grant football game one time, the Grant Pacers. So he wasn't just community talk, he was community in action. So he really enjoyed being around here. But what about regrets? Any regrets, Mike, from your time in Sacramento?
No, obviously you wish, I think our first year we won 48, 48, and it's just my personal 2 cents on it. If Kevin doesn't get hurt 2 months to go and Malik doesn't get hurt a month ago, we probably win 50 that second year, and then we're in the playoffs. And so, the first year we played injury-free. Second year we got hit with the injury bug, especially late by a starter and our sixth man. And if there's anything I regret, I know I had no control over that, neither did the guys, but I wish we were injury-free, at least at the end of the season, to give ourselves a better chance. But, man, like I said, enjoyed my time here.
Kayla, it's crazy, the Western Conference in the NBA, how we expect it to be so unbelievably good. And the Kings win 48 games, and they're the third seed. Next year they win 50 or 46. Mike said they could have won 50, but 46 was the 9th seed. I mean, such an insane drop-off for just 2 more losses that the Kings had to deal with. And we lump this all together as Mike Brown's time, but man, was the West brutal that year that they won just 46 games.
And that's part of it. And I know that he mentioned the injuries too. And I know people get kind of annoyed sometimes when coaches bring up, well, if we had this person or if we had that person. But a lot of that reigns true. Like, it's not making excuses. It's just something that when you're a coach and you see things different in how you're putting your lineups together, or how things are working on the floor, and when you take certain things away, yeah, it is part of the equation of probably why you didn't win as many games. But, fans are critical, and they're gonna say that type of stuff. But the West, regardless, yes, the West is a different beast, especially during the time you were talking about.
Well, speaking of fans being critical, there were a lot of criticisms of Mike Brown when he was fired. A lot of people making a case that he deserved to be fired. At the time, a lot of people brought up how he handled Keon Ellis specifically. Mike talks about not being able to control what's said about him.
I can't control what things are being said, you know what I'm saying? And so people are going to say what they're going to say, especially with the internet today. Anybody can jump on the internet and post something, and to a certain degree, you may think it's real. I know I'm not. So that can happen. You can't control that. You just got to kind of put your head down and keep pushing forward and be the best you can. And then, I don't know. Hopefully, I think the crowd will be good, but you never know. Like I said, I enjoyed my time here. I enjoyed the fans here, and hopefully they appreciate what we accomplished while I was here.
And I know they for sure did. But this final clip that I want to play, Kayla, this speaks to who Mike Brown is. And I love how he answers this question when he talks about tonight being emotional, if it's emotional at all for him.
The reality of it is coming back here and a place that we really enjoyed, it's a little emotional, but at the end of the day, the fans, if they cheer me or hug me when they see me during the game, after the game, trust me, they want to kick my ass and the Knicks' ass, and we want to do the same.
That's all about who Mike Brown is right there. But Mike hasn't really, he's taken the high road, but he hasn't really had to say anything about being fired and the way things ended in Sacramento, because his success in New York has done the talking. We're getting to know each other, you and I, as we figure out and get through this radio show and learn together. And I'm very excited to find out what things are important to you and what things aren't in the world of sports. What is your opinion on the NBA Cup?
So it is different for me coming into an NBA heavy market, and following the NBA throughout my career has been different in different places. Because basketball is pretty much the staple of what I was brought up with too in Washington State, along with hockey and that kind of stuff. Because Washington State is a basketball state. We all know that, right?
Big time.
I grew up in Spokane with Gonzaga. we kind of know what basketball is, but when you're, like you said, away from it for a while and you're not following the everyday headlines, when the NBA came to this decision they were going to create this NBA Cup, you're hearing from where I am down there in the South, like, you've got the Grizzlies down there, but you're hearing like, what the heck is this cup thing?
Right.
Like, this is stupid. Why is this like happening? Like, and then, you don't hear as much about winning it is like meaningful. Like, you're not hearing like the like winning the cup is like, they're joking about the banners. Like, okay, what are we going to hang a banner that you won the NBA Cup or whatever? Then coming here, following it very, very closely, NBA in the last several months, it is interesting for a guy like him who goes to the Knicks after everything that happened here. And all you can do when you're a coach like that specifically is what's in front of you.
Yep.
And what was in front of him at that point was, hey, you got a chance to win the NBA Cup. You don't have to hang a banner, obviously, but it is something where you're like, we're progressing at the right pace. We're doing the right things right now, and we like our team. Like, this team is like a team we could see maybe doing it all, but it's like almost like a nice little like halfway point of, hey, this is a kind of a big deal for Mike Brown and his team right now.
Yeah.
Because it's showing that they're getting on the path to continuing what their ultimate goal is winning the NBA Finals.
Yeah. There's no question to a team like the Sacramento Kings, the NBA Cup is a lot more meaningful because that's probably the only hardware that you're going to compete for, right?
Yeah.
But they're like in New York, the expectations when they hired Mike Brown, it's a championship or bust.
Oh, yeah.
Like the real test for Mike Brown is still coming. But I love what you said. All you can do is win the games that are ahead of you. And the first opportunity to win hardware, Mike Brown won hardware. And who did he do it against? The San Antonio Spurs that have De'Aaron Fox.
Exactly.
The NBA Cup could not have been more of a laugh at the Sacramento Kings than it was. And it was poetic in so many ways. Now, am I losing my mind over Mike Brown being an NBA Cup champion? No. If he wins the NBA Finals, I'm a different story. And we'll see how I'm emotionally doing at that time. And that's what his expectations are, and he knows that. He'll trade the NBA Cup for an NBA Finals title any day of the week. But man, the first opportunity you had to win, you won it all. Like that matters to me.
I just don't see why criticize. If anything, just don't say it. I mean, just say like, okay, cool. Like, don't criticize the man for actually doing something in the middle of the season. It's not his fault that the cup was created and this all was created. It's like he had one job, and it was obviously to win games, but that was the next thing in front of them, and they did it, and they accomplished it against a really good San Antonio team, by the way, who was leading a big chunk of that game. So just I thought it was a great cup, by the way, in general.
Very
and
entertaining.
I know Sac fans were enjoying it too, because even though in the back of the mind they're hating it, but it was probably interesting to watch.
Yeah, and as many of us in Sacramento were rolling our eyes at the NBA Cup, it was funny that when the first year of the NBA Cup, when Mike Brown was here, the Kings went undefeated in the group stage and made it out of the group stage, and we loved it then. We were all about it then.
Of course you did.
When you're in it, it's important. When you're out of it, it's lame. Well, we're going to get to know us a little bit more coming up in our next segment, another edition of Getting to Know You. Kyle's got a question for us, just kind of about our background in this media industry. So we'll take that question from Kyle coming up next.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-949-1441. That's 800-949-1441.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to start strong, so you can give everything you've got. From plate-loaded strength equipment and functional training areas to treadmills, stair climbers, and free weights. Our equipment is best in class, and our clubs are right around the corner, so you can go all in. Join Planet Fitness today for $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Deal extended through January 16th. Don't miss it.
See club for details.
California's largest sportsman's expo is back Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo in Sacramento. Find a huge selection of fishing boats, kayaks, side-by-sides, and more than 50,000 square feet of RVs and campers. And check out Toyota's full lineup of trucks and SUVs. Your life outdoors at the International Sportsman's Expo, Thursday through Sunday at Cal Expo in Sacramento. More info at sportsexpos.com.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners pull off the big-time upset in Philly, defeating the defending champs 23-19. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in the win. The D comes up with a stop in the final minute to secure the win. Niners now travel to Seattle on Saturday for a divisional round playoff game. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports 1140, beginning at 4 o'clock.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center January 23rd through 25th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
There's the hard way to buy a car, and then there's the Hoblet way. Transparent prices, fast paperwork, and a team that's there to help, not hover. We've spent 77 years refining this process so you can get in, get out, and get driving with zero drama. Car buying doesn't have to be stressful. At least, not when you do it the Hoblet way. Experience the difference at HobletDodge.com. The easy way to buy.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
From the 209, will we get hockey talk? Yes. Just not today. I'm very excited. Tomorrow on Matt and Kayla, Sactown Sports, 10 to 2, Brody Brazil will be joining us. He covers Sharks hockey very, very closely. And Kayla, the Sharks remind me a lot of the Beam team. They're not maybe that good necessarily, but this breakout, young, exciting team. Macklin Celebrini is incredible. So I'm very excited to talk to Brody about that. And then we'll see. We'll test the waters a little bit to see if he wants to talk A's, because he covered the Oakland A's for years upon years upon years. And he's very passionate about what went down in the Bay. So I'm looking forward to talking to him tomorrow.
Hockey and a little baseball. Who would ever thunk?
Well, they both use swing sticks in both of them.
That's true.
One's just a little bit different.
Yep.
Kyle, before we get into the getting to know segment question that we have for you, I didn't get to ask you last segment. What is your opinion of the NBA Cup?
It's fine. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't just take it for what it is, I guess. It's a way for younger guys to get money, and players seem to be excited about getting their young guys $750,000 and that's kind of nice. But yeah, it doesn't have to be like, oh, is this good for the sport? Is this bad for the sport? It just kind of is what it is. I like when they have like the neon green courts that make it like reflect in your face. That's always funny.
Mountain Dew court in Minnesota.
The Timberwolves, yeah.
I kind of liked it, but a lot of people didn't.
I just let it exist, but also if you asked me who was in the final 8 this year, I don't know if I could tell you who was in the quarterfinals of the Cup. So
look, we've gotten a lot of good games out of the NBA Cup over its short existence, and I feel like the people that poo-poo the NBA Cup, for lack of a better term, are either the fans of the teams that have been eliminated and act like they don't care to make themselves feel better, or just that kid that like anything is lame that's new, or anything that I don't like is lame. I feel like it's cool to hate on the NBA Cup, but it was the NBA's attempt to kind of steal a little bit from international soccer, and like the FA Cup in England in the middle of the soccer season, and we have the US Open Cup here in the United States in the middle of both the MLS and USL season. So it's new, it's different, it's not the craziest thing in the world, but I'm down with the NBA
I also
Cup.
appreciate the NBA is willing to lie to us and pretend like it actually matters.
Yeah.
Like if they just threw it out there and were like, yeah, whatever, it just exists. At least they like try to put gravitas behind it and try to make people care about it.
It's just trying to make games more interesting in November and December when they're in direct competition with the NFL. And we know NFL is king.
Yeah.
Like, we know NFL. Although NBA beat NFL pretty badly on Christmas Day 2 years in a row, so Christmas Day is the NBA's day, I guess.
I think that's still weird that, NFL, look, they've tried to take everything. They pretty much have every night of the week.
Yep.
And, well, football in general does, right? I'm sorry. Even being somebody who is kind of more new to the full NBA landscape, like every single day of my life now, the NBA is reserved for Christmas.
Okay.
So seeing football like Christmas Day now and stuff it's like Thanksgiving. Okay, yeah. But NBA is still known for kind of like the Christmas Day.
Sure.
That's how I remember it growing up.
The NFL owns Thanksgiving. Like you have
you have to own every single holiday.
Right. So
what, Valentine's Day now? Are we going to push the Super Bowl to It's pretty much
Well, they
there.
actually are going to do that.
Actually, it is there now, isn't it?
Oh, gosh.
Well, they're going to add an 18th game and then do the Super Bowl President's Weekend, which is going to move the NBA All-Star game back.
Well, at least people don't have to go to work on Monday because
that's why they're doing it.
About
Yeah.
that, you know?
Great. So at the Anderson household, were the football games on or were the NBA games on Christmas Day?
We've got enough, obviously, TVs, not like we have like 1,000, but, one upstairs, one downstairs. And then everybody's got their laptops that you can then choose what you want to put on that.
What was on the main screen? What was on the big screen in the living room?
Probably NFL.
Yeah.
That generic third-string Chiefs quarterback.
Yeah, NFL's NFL, man. I can't. As much as I love basketball, I can't say it was any different in the George household.
Mm-hmm.
Although I love me some Christmas Day games, even if the Kings are never
not playing,
never ever in them. All right, getting to know you. Little segment that we put together here over the first couple of weeks of the show, where hopefully you just get to know us and we get to know each other a little bit because Kayla and I never worked. We never worked together before this show. Kyle and I never worked together before this show, although we knew of each other. Kyle, you get the getting to know you question of the day. Hit us.
Yeah, you passed it off to me today. So my question for you guys is, what and why did you get into this stupid sports media world that we're all obsessed by, that have made our lives, shall we say?
Why did I do that? Because I've never made any money.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
What is wrong with me?
We could have done anything else.
I know. It's like, why was I born with some competitive passion for athletics? It's kind of interesting. I've always loved journalism and writing, and I've loved being in front of people and talking. Mm-hmm. That's really what I have loved since I was a little girl, and it evolved into sports because when I decided to start competitively dancing and then played softball in high school, I loved all those things, and that was the competitive side of me and why I enjoy being in the moment and being on the floor and on the field to kind of have that energy. But I think I got to the point where I knew I was never going to go anywhere to play sports beyond high school. Mm-hmm. But I loved it so much, and I loved being in the stands, even if I was just rooting for my high school basketball team, analyzing what they were doing instead of just cheering about making a basket. So I decided to take that passion for journalism and writing that side of my brain and couple it with my passion for sports. And I made that decision freshman year in high school. I was looking at where I wanted to go to school. And so I knew early on, just mixing the competitive side of me with a passion for sports, that broadcast journalism, specifically sports, was what I wanted to do. I have never once veered away. Never once. And it's a very tough business for all you out there, that maybe don't understand the inner workings of this business. It is tough. It's competitive. It's cutthroat. So to last as long as I do, I'll give myself a little pat on the back.
Absolutely.
Because it's a tough career, but when you have a passion for something like that,
it's fulfilling.
What am I supposed to do? Just cut that passion out of me? I don't know what else to do.
Right.
This is my life.
Yeah, the way I explain it to people, because I've been very fortunate enough to work in the city that I've grown up in. This has been
which
my
I
home,
love that too.
And never had to leave, never had to stray away, which is very rare in this industry. But to me, the way I explain it to people is, if I didn't have this job, I would be paying for Kings season tickets anyway.
Correct.
So it's just the passion never goes away. We just have found a way to get paid to do it instead of have to pay to do it, which is a blessing in its own right. But Kayla was 10 times the athlete I was. I was always the kid that was on the court or on the field or whatever that was the smartest or one of the smartest. I understood the rules of games and learned the rules of games very quickly. When it comes to athletically hitting a jump shot, useless. Like a rebound and block shots, that's it. You put me beyond the 3-point line, and it's like a baby giraffe being born. I'm just completely lost. But I knew I loved the game, and I grew up watching Kings basketball, grew up watching football, and one day I started looking around the field and looking around the court, and you see all the different people that are there that have jobs, and it was like, okay, when we think of a career in professional sports, you think the athlete or the coach, the guys that are front and center, or the ladies that are front and center, and rightfully so. But when you if you go to a Kings game in person or watch it on TV, or especially an NFL sideline, look how many people are out there that are not athletes that are working there. That is their job. And I always knew, okay, that's where I wanted to be. That's where I wanted to get to. So it very much like you, this is this passion, this world of sports, and I found my way in, and it is so fulfilling. It is very challenging. You've gone through tremendous amount of challenges bouncing around. I've been extremely lucky here in Sacramento. So I've been spoon-fed in so many ways.
Everybody has their own journey.
Right. Everybody does. But I love it here. Kyle, real quick, what the heck are you doing? Why are you here?
All right, SparkNotes version. I was the kid who, at 8 years old, was reciting batting averages to adults, and they were scared. Yeah, exactly. Just a giant, big ol' sports nerd. I had a pretty tough time as a kid. Just family stuff was awful as a kid, and so sports kind of became my personality. And then after my playing career ended at JV baseball and JV basketball, in part because of athletic ability, in part because of household problems going on, I graduated high school and decided that I wanted to do something around sports. So I did a podcast part-time while I was in college. I hosted every day. It did pretty good. And then after I graduated, got a job here, and my first year happened to be the Beam Team season. So
what a time.
Lucky.
Perfect me. First year was the best possible year to be a Sacramento King, to work around the Kings. And ever since then, I've been here at the radio station.
Well, we're happy you are here.
So
and
cool.
We're very excited to start the second hour of the show talking to Steve Wyche, who has made it in this industry with the what he does for the NFL Network. Maybe we should ask Steve about what got him into this industry,
That's
too.
a great question.
We'll start with that coming up next right here on Sactown Sports.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Never have I ever called my sister from the finish line of my first marathon.
Hello?
You won't believe where I am.
Are you running?
Mile 26. I'm gonna make it.
Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e with its advanced camera system on us. Plus, 2 lines for just $30 a line.
Guys, I can't believe it.
I knew you could do it, babe.
That was amazing.
Mom, how do you feel?
I feel great. I can't feel my feet. Let's take a picture, and then you may carry me to the car.
Share every stride, every mile, every memory on America's best network. Switch to T-Mobile's 55 Plus plan and get iPhone 16e on us and 2 lines for just $30 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 eligible port-ins on Essentials 55 Plus for well-qualified customers with autopay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 128 gigabytes, $599.99 required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Guys, low energy, low drive, or strength not what it used to be? For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation to get real answers. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. Call 916-619-3000 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply. Must medically qualify.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Sactown Sports 1140.
Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
We started the show talking about Wednesdays and our opinion on Wednesdays. And one of the reasons during football season that I hate Wednesdays is because you're like smack down in the middle of there's no football period. Well, we're going to scratch that football itch for everybody today because we got a very cool guest coming up in a little bit. Shout out Kayla Anderson for connecting with Steve Wyche, the NFL Network's chief national reporter. You talk about big time of football coverage. I mean, Steve Wyche is that.
Yeah.
So to be able to have him here on the show, the first week of the show, that's the Kayla Anderson effect right there. You want to know what kind of pull Kayla Anderson has in the football world? She called up Steve Wyche. Hey, Steve. He's like, yeah, I'm coming on. I'm coming on to talk to Kayla. Very excited to be able to speak with the NFL Network or NFL Network's chief national reporter, Steve Wyche, joining us. Steve, before we went to break, in the last segment, we were sharing with each other why we got into this business. Like, what obsession did we have with football or basketball or radio or sports in general that got us into this business? For someone who's been as unbelievably as successful as you, where did it start for you? What got you in to know I want to cover football?
Probably about 8th grade when I realized I was no good at math.
Yes.
In terms of getting to the journalism profession. No, I was really sparked by it. My father, when I grew up in St. Louis, and he was in the sales department at the local NBC affiliate. He had nothing to do with kind of the on-air stuff, but it was just something being around it where, coupled with me being completely inept with numbers and being a former jock, I said, you know what, let me try to get into sports writing. And, you know, I'm one of the people I can say I'm blessed enough to be able to kind of live out my childhood dreams and ambitions. So that's how I got into it.
Love it.
Steve Wyche is the NFL Network's chief national reporter. Steve, this has been such a wild season in the NFL. And I know, like, we don't have some of the major teams that are in the mix right now in the playoffs, but it's almost more fun that way. I'm curious on your take of how this season has played off and how we've gotten to where we are.
Yeah, this is we hear it every year, but this is the NFL's dream of parity. And I think with some of the injuries, some teams getting older and going against the old Bill Walsh philosophy of hanging on to guys a year too late instead of getting rid of them a year too early, hit some teams like maybe the Ravens and maybe the Steelers and some of the traditional teams we're used to, the Chiefs. But I also think this new era of quarterbacks. I mean, look at somebody like a Drake May coming up and showing up. So I think everything's kind of turning that proverbial page that we've seen happen over and over again, from the Cowboys teams of the 90s to the Niners teams of the 90s to the old Steelers teams that we saw with the old Celtics and Lakers with the NBA. I think this is just kind of the window closing on teams and the windows opening up for others. The great thing with the NFL is those windows can reopen or they can close real quick, like we saw with the Washington Commanders this season when injuries completely gutted its season.
Steve, we are seeing some of the best defenses make it and continue to go further and further, from the Denver Broncos to the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, you got to worry about the Houston Texans, who have been on a massive win streak. When there are this many good defenses, and I know that a cliche is defense wins championships, is it whichever team can get hot offensively or figure it out offensively? Is that what you think is going to be the X factor for putting together an actual Super Bowl run?
That's a great question because, styles make fights. And I think we're going to see in these playoffs because there is no Patrick Mahomes, right? There is no Joe Burrow. Yes, there is a Matthew Stafford. Yes, there is a Josh Allen. But I think it's really going to come down to the matchups. And because of the defenses, and that's another reason I think we're seeing the shift, is defenses caught up to offenses. These great defensive coaches, you're even seeing it in the coach interview cycle, a lot more defensive coaches are getting a swing. So, but I think, when you're playing Houston or you're playing Seattle or you're playing Denver, you better get takeaways. You better find ways to maybe force a defensive score, or your defense has to be great, because if they get 17 points, that might be enough for them because their defenses are just so incredible.
NFL Network's chief national reporter Steve Wyche joined us this morning on Matt and Kayla. So the Niners, we're in Niners country here in Northern California, and man, has it been such a bizarre season because nobody likes the injuries that have happened here. And I think we're starting to try to even find ways to figure out why they're happening. But in the moment right now, this team just keeps winning. How would you rate this in terms of a coaching job that Kyle Shanahan has done?
Okay, it sounds like you're buying into that electrical grid conspiracy. I know that's what you were alluding to. Look, this has been an incredible job by Kyle Shanahan, and not just because of him scheming guys up. And, this is where you have to give credit to his staff, too, because the hardest thing to do during an NFL season is develop players, right? You have to do that in the offseason, and there's just not much time in the NFL, especially with no pads. And so for them to be able to have a Tatum Bethune to step in for Fred Warner, Malik Mustafa coming off of injury to develop and continue to get better, but then also to plug in veteran players like a Demarcus Robinson and Juwan Jennings develop and Tonjes, Jake Tonjes step up and play well. It's a real credit to him, to Kyle and his staff developmentally, to have guys ready. I never forget fullback Kyle Juszczyk told me that, every year Shanahan will gather the veterans over at dinner at his place or something like that. And he said the message was totally different this year when he said, we're going to be playing more new and inexperienced players than we've ever had to play. So you guys need to help me get them ready from everything on the field, off the field, to preparation, just in case. And Juszczyk said that message reset everybody's focus, because it's usually win the division, get to the playoffs, and go from there. And he said that really, as players, it reshaped and reframed their focus because they became the teachers. And the fact that they had that added responsibility re-energized them, and that's why you're seeing also the development and the expectation some of these younger players show up at times like this when all these injuries have hit.
And we have this really unique instance, Steve, where the Seahawks and Niners just played in Week 18. The Niners have played a game in Philadelphia since then, but the last game the Seahawks played was against the Niners, and here they are playing the Niners again, but this time playoffs are on the line. But as we know, postseason football, very different from regular season football, even though the number 1 seed was on the line there in Week 18. How much do you pull from that game when analyzing this game versus how much do you think both teams can sort of wipe the slate clean, and it's a completely different ball game?
Oh, there's no wiping the slate clean, especially with Juwan Jennings coming out screaming, "Can't wait" to play Seattle after that game. But I do think, they've played each other twice. They know each other well. They know what they want to do. So this is where, to use the old coaching adage, it comes down to execution. There's not going to be a ton of surprises. There will be some. I mean, Seattle's had a few days to kind of work on things to scheme on, especially knowing that the 49ers won't have George Kittle, but they will have Trent Williams back. And for the 49ers, it's really going to be, how do we function without George Kittle? They played a lot without him, so this isn't going to be a huge surprise. But more so, how do they combat a defensive line that absolutely left their offensive front? Like, it was just carnage the last time they played. I mean, Seattle used 4 guys. 49ers couldn't block them, and it just really stifled their offense. So the Seahawks are like, we left a lot of points on the field. It shouldn't have been as close as it was, 13-3 or whatever it was. And the 49ers are like, hey, if Christian McCaffrey was able to get to that ball, we've got a whole different ball game. So both these teams are going to come in confident. So that's why I'm expecting a great game.
Steve, I don't even know if you know this about me because I've covered the Titans for the last, 8+ years. But
bless your heart.
I know, seriously, Steve, I'm blessing my own heart. But I'm a Seahawks fan, right? Born and raised in Washington State. And it's hard for me because I've never been the biggest Sam Darnold fan. And I know there's a lot of people that are critical of Sam Darnold. In this, this situation with Seattle this year where he's been okay, right? But I think everyone's just waiting for the playoffs. Like, is the playoff Sam Darnold going to show up? Why convince me, maybe, Steve, that I should be a little bit more calmed down about that?
Well, this is where you fall back to Week 18. He only had to throw it 26 times. It was 20 for 26 because Seattle ran the ball. And that's where the 49ers have to absolutely button things up because the past month the Seahawks have been great in the run game, starting with that comeback victory against the Rams, and it started with that big Kenneth Walker run. And ever since then, the dam has burst, right? They are hitting big run after big run after big run. And if somehow San Francisco can either A, get a lead and make Seattle play from behind, or B, slow down that run game, then the game comes on Sam Darnold. And if you're having to have him throw it 30 to 35 times, he's more than capable. He showed that last year at Minnesota when he was throwing it 40 times and he was killing it. But that's what you want to do. And that's going to be the conversation around this game because until he does it, Sam Darnold, week after week, has got proving to do to all of us because we've just seen him at this point in his career struggle, turn the ball over, and that's something that honestly has not gone away. So, again, put the game on him. That's going to be the strategy for the 49ers.
We're speaking with Steve Wyche, the chief national reporter for NFL Network. Steve, the quarterback question about the Seahawks 49ers game between Purdy and Darnold can really be expanded to almost the entire playoff picture. You've got the two, I guess, top of the mountain quarterbacks in Matthew Stafford and Josh Allen. But then, there's so many question marks at the quarterback position, so many young, new faces getting their first real opportunities on these massive stages. It's weird that Brock Purdy is considered, I guess, a playoff veteran quarterback amongst this group. The quarterback position, it's called the most important position in sports for a reason. Quarterback play is always so essential in the playoffs. What intrigues you so much about so many new faces at that position in the postseason?
Well, first off, Caleb Williams, because we see how spectacular dynamic he is, but he's such a thrill ride because it's here and there where he's spectacular dynamic, and other times it's like, whoa. But you can say that about Bo Nix, right? You can say that, about C.J. Stroud. The one thing that those guys have that Caleb doesn't is a dynamic stonewall defense. Broncos' defense is great. Houston's defense is great. Darnold's defense is great. Caleb's defense relies on turnovers. And if they don't get them, then that offense has got to do something special. And we know they run the ball very well. We know Caleb is magic in the fourth quarter, especially. But, I mean, those are the things. Like, can Josh Allen, everyone will say, give me this argument, this is his best time to win it because of that uncertainty. I think that's an unfair question because this isn't the best Bills team Josh Allen has played on. And so, they play the Broncos this week in Denver. That's tough sledding, man. That's very tough sledding because that Broncos defense is so great. They've had a week to prepare. So we'll just see. But I just think the fact, and you mentioned it earlier, that three of these teams have such great defenses to insulate not spectacular quarterback play. That's what's going to make these playoffs intriguing.
Steve, you mentioned a lot of quarterback names there, and one that you didn't mention, but we've mentioned their defense clearly because that's the meat of the team, is C.J. Stroud. And I'm curious from your perspective because obviously this is going to be his third season going to the playoffs. Now, last year is not good. His rookie season, fell short, but had a great season. Have you seen CJ get back on the horse in any way this year? I mean, he's obviously been better than last season, but is there a way you feel like he could help this team here in the playoffs? Because it is more so the defense is what has been the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, I mean, look, we saw against Pittsburgh how inconsistent he was. He turned the ball over. I think part of it is they're still kind of figuring out what they want to be offensively because they don't run the ball well. And so the onus is put more so on him. And I think they do call the game sometimes, because of their defense. Like, let's take some shot plays. If we don't get it, our defense will bail us out because of where we are on the field. But I think C.J. Stroud is more than capable. I think they do need to work with the offensive coordinator and their play calling and their play design in the offseason to kind of marry some things to be better because they're not a good red zone team. They're an explosive offense, and once they get going in the explosive game, that's where they win. But otherwise, everything is a struggle, and that's not all on C.J., but he's got to be better at recognizing some things, and they've got to design the offense to help him get through that.
Steve, I grew up like so many people in recent NFL history, couldn't stand the New England Patriots because they're always there. And Tom Brady, who, by the way, I'm a Raiders fan, so now I have to like Tom Brady. But all the years, I know, right? I know. Trust me, I'll take all the prayer you got. But the Patriots were just the staple of postseason football and excellence in the NFL. And here they are now, led by Drake May, back in the postseason, had a phenomenal breakout season this year. I'm not trying to make one-to-one comparisons to young Drake May and young Tom Brady and the start of that Patriots dynasty. But do you see any similarities between the two, and do you feel like something special is brewing once again there in New England?
I think it's fair to connect the dots because the Patriots, they don't beat themselves, right? That was a staple of the Belichick-era Patriots for as long as he was there. They didn't make mistakes. They weren't penalized. They were incredibly disciplined. Defensively, they're very good. And as we know, Tom Brady's first three Super Bowls were based on their defense and their kicking game. And they didn't ask a ton out of him. And that's the case right now. That said, Drake May makes a ton of plays, especially when he has to. He's very good at overcoming mistakes. But I think it is fair to draw some comparisons, by no fault of Drake May's, but I just think of Mike Vrabel coming in and establishing the things that he's established, knowing he's got a stud quarterback. Again, I just think there are some things there that, you can definitely make some A to B connections.
Steve Wyche joining us, lead reporter for the NFL Network, chief reporter, I should say. And I'm going to rile up the Raiders fans here because we've got plenty of them here in Sacramento as well. And there's a lot of coaches available. Obviously, Mike Tomlin, we'll see what happens with him, but John Harbaugh is out there. But I don't think those are fits necessarily for the Raiders. I'm curious as to what the Raiders need to do to try to get it right. And they have the number 1 overall pick, but in a way, I'm curious on the coaching side of things, Steve, with you, what you think they should do.
I would think John Harbaugh, Mike Tomlin would be exactly what the Raiders need. Now, Tomlin's not going to, and Harbaugh is not going to come there. And here's why I say this. Like, the Raiders need to fix themselves before they fix their on-field roster. And when I say that, they've got a lot of well-meaning people in that building, but what are they? They're a logo, and there are a lot of slogans that are 40, 50 years old. and again, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, but when you go to the Broncos, or you go to the Patriots, or you go wherever, kind of what those organizations are about. With the Raiders, we just know that, hey, commitment to excellence, silver and black, and they've got the pirate logo. Their roster's not good, and they need somebody to come in that building, and it's not going to be Tom Brady, to really get this culture going. That's something we thought Pete Carroll could do, and that was an abject disaster.
Yeah.
So we can sit and talk about, you want a great play caller, you want a great this and that. They need to figure out inside the building before anything what their process and what their purpose is. And I just think that's completely been spaghetti noodles thrown on the wall the past couple of years, ever since the John Gruden situation. And then from there, I think they can take their pick of coaches. Okay, if we want to be an offensive team and we're going to get a quarterback, let's get an offensive-minded leader in here and give them 2 or 3 years to build it. Let's not get jumpy. And that's got to be established, and it's got to go through it. But we've shown that they don't have a lot of patience either. So, again, they've got a long way to go. But I think figuring out their identity is more important than figuring out what they're going to do at the top pick or figuring out who their head coach is going to be.
And, Steve, it's never a bad thing to have the number 1 overall pick. But for all the reasons you just laid out there, it's why there is a nervous energy within my Raiders, cold, dark Raiders heart, and throughout the Raider Nation is, okay, it should be Fernando Mendoza. He, to me, is the clear, concise, consensus number 1 overall pick. But because this organization is desperately looking for someone to lead the change, is there concern that they're going to throw all of that pressure, that weight on the shoulders of, granted it's a quarterback and there's pressure to be the number 1 pick and pressure to be in the NFL, but if you're going to throw, hey, save our franchise that's been so bad for so long on the shoulders of a kid, for lack of a better term, coming into the league, I don't know if that's the greatest recipe for success.
Well, I mean, look, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, because look what the Bears and look what the Patriots did. The Patriots were a complete disaster last season in their building, more so than as bad as it was on the field. So what do? They hire a coach who's a leader. They go out and they spend money to bring in offensive linemen. This is Chicago, too. They went out and they changed their offensive line and said, we are going to be tough up front. Here's your identity. We are going to be tough up front. We're going to get the type of defensive players in here. We're going to be absolutely and fundamentally sound. Okay, so they just told you what they're going to be, and they went out and they did it. And in a year, they have flipped. They have flipped exactly what they were. So if the Raiders say, we're going to draft a quarterback, we're going to go out and get the 3 best free agent offensive linemen that fit what we want to do offensively, then go do it. And then you're going to use the rest of the draft to continue to fortify that offensive line and steadily put together a defense. Right? It's not as hard as it seems, and you've got, again, the blueprint models and the Patriots and the Bears right there in front of you as to how it could be done.
Steve, where do you feel like the best landing spot is for John Harbaugh at this point? It's just, when that happened, I think we all were a little surprised, but, we know the NFL that we're living in now, so, things get stale. But where would be the best landing spot fit-wise for Harbaugh?
Well, and you guys see where there's a quarterback, so that would be the Giants. And that's a building that absolutely needs to get someone to come in and wrap their arms around it. I mean, since they fired Tom Coughlin and GM Jerry Reese, they have just failed time and time again to get a head coach who's a leader. But they also haven't had that steady dose of quarterback play, and they've got one in Jackson Dart. I would also say Atlanta, because the new structure the Falcons have put in place with Matt Ryan, a president of football operations. They've got, they've got a higher general manager, which is going to happen soon. It's very similar to where he's coming from in Baltimore, where, yes, he had authoritative power, but he was mainly there just to coach. So I think those 2 places, again, we don't know what Michael Penix is going to be in Atlanta, but I think John Harbaugh can put together the type of staff to identify what they want him to be and take him from there. So I think those are the 2 best places, and especially Atlanta, because of its ownership is very good. I honestly don't see much of anywhere else unless he wants to go to Tennessee, which I think is another organization that can flip its fortunes pretty quickly if they get the right leadership in there, because Cam Ward is a very promising young quarterback.
Steve Wyche, NFL Network's chief national reporter. You've been so generous with your time, Steve. We really appreciate you making the time during this very, very busy week for it. Do we look forward to seeing you in Santa Clara for the Super Bowl? And what do you make about coming to the Bay and spending another Super Bowl at Levi Stadium?
Love the Bay. Love the Bay. Yeah, I will be in San Francisco, Santa Clara for the Super Bowl, but first I will be in Seattle for that Seahawks-Niners game. Coverage will be on NFL Network on Saturday. And then Sunday on our game day preview show, which is actually on the NFL channel, right? We have a separate channel on Roku and Tubi and on the NFL app. I will be on there previewing Sunday's games.
Well, make sure you spend your Sundays with Steve. Steve knows what the best game is.
He does.
It's Seahawks. It's Niners. We're very excited about it. We really appreciate you taking the time, Steve. Have some fun, safe travels, and we look forward to seeing you in the Bay very soon.
Great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
See you, Steve.
Absolute pleasure. Steve is the best. Man, that was a treat to go around the NFL with him, one of the most established NFL reporters out there. There's so much to take away from that conversation. I mean, what stood out to you?
That's what I love about people like that, because he's so busy. So for him, you said generous with your time. He really is, because he's hopping on planes all the time. He's all over the place. I thought it was interesting in terms of just when I asked him the question about John Harbaugh, because I am literally like kind of plugged into that. I've heard Tennessee tied to that. But when he said the two organizations in Atlanta and the Giants, that was interesting to me, because that means he believes in Dart as being that guy. And I think we all kind of see the pluses of Dart, but there are still some questions about him. And then the belief that Penix is still going to be their guy in Atlanta after all the kind of injuries he's already endured early on in his career. So that was interesting to me.
Well, I do appreciate Steve for talking Raiders fans off the ledge a little bit there with just the concerns about the number one overall pick. He seems to believe that, hey, you can get things right and turn things around quickly, and there are great examples of that in the NFL. But, man, with Raiders Nation, we'll believe it when we see it, but we'll still be there cheering as much as possible. Well, coming up next, we're continuing with football. Kayla, Kyle, and I are going to work together to we're becoming a law firm. We're going to put together the best case that we can for why the 49ers will win the Super Bowl this year, what gives them the edge, and then we're also going to put together individual cases for other teams. That's all still coming here in the second hour of Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports.
Listen to the number one sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your number one source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
The winter service event is on at Maida Subaru. Now is the time to let Maida Subaru get your Subaru road ready for the winter weather with exceptional savings on tires, brakes, wiper blades, and more. See all the service specials at MaidaSubaru.com.
Join Sactown Sports Downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In-Shape Fitness Kings Rally Towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Sometimes you need country music. Next time you have that feeling, check out New Country 105.1 KNCI, where you have 4 opportunities each weekday to win $1,000 and double your paycheck. New Country for Sacramento, 105.1 KNCI.
Card collectors know there's nothing as special as a rare one-of-one card. And now you can hear a very rare one-of-a-kind sports card show right here on Sactown Sports. Whitey Gleason here inviting you to join me and Mr. True Sports Cards himself, Imran Pilati, for the True Sports Card Show every Saturday morning at 10 on Sactown Sports. It's the only sports card radio show in the nation. For all your hobby needs, get to True Sports Cards, 6661 Stanford Ranch Road in Rockland. And for hobby, insight, and fun, join us for the True Sports Card Show Saturday mornings at 10 on Sactown Sports.
The other guys must think you failed math. Get this huge discount. Then the fine print hits you with $5,200 in mandatory ads. It's adorable in a scammy kind of way. At Hoblet, we skip the tricks. The price you see is the price you actually pay. What a wild concept, huh? Hoblet, family owned 77 years. Experience the difference online at hobletdodge.com.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing live DJs, Mechanical Bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITBfest.com.
On Sactown Sports 1140.
Welcome to the law offices of Matt, Kayla, and Kyle.
George and Anderson and Associates.
George Anderson and Ledbetters.
That does sound, all of those names sound like they could be lawyer names.
Is that are you the receptionist? Is that what, like, Ledbetter the receptionist?
He does answer phones.
Apparently, I can be.
George and Anderson does sound like a law firm.
George and Anderson will solve your car problem.
We'll get you out of trouble.
Yes.
Maybe.
Solve your car problems.
Well,
Are you the mechanics?
Sorry.
Yeah, well,
car accident problems.
We'll repair your car and get you the money that you need. Hey, we can branch out.
The first ever mechanics / small claims lawyers.
Listen. Something is bothering you, call George and Anderson. The reason why we're a law firm this segment, and a little bit next segment too, although next segment's going to be the breakup of the law firm. Next segment, we're all going to go our separate ways and defend our own teams.
Breaking up the band.
We're breaking up the Boy, we lasted long, didn't we?
This is like
LFO?
Celino and Barnes aren't Celino and Barnes anymore. They broke up, so we're going to get to...
I don't know what Celino...
I don't know what that means either.
What is that?
Oh, they were the people who used to have those advertisements on the radio all the time, like 1-800 Celino and Barnes injury attorneys. Call 1-800-888-8888.
It's crazy you know that verbatim.
He
well,
has
you know
that
what?
down.
The audience knows what I'm talking about,
Now-
just because you guys don't.
Of course, we have to pick sides on this show. So I'm Team Barnes.
Okay.
Team Barnes needed to get away and needed to branch out and do their own thing. So shout out Team Barnes. You were second. Your name is second on. Everybody knows the first name on a show like Matt and Kayla. The first name's dumb. The second name really is what carries the weight there. So shout out Barnes. But here in the George Anderson law offices of George and Anderson with our receptionist, Kyle Ledbetter, let's work together to make our case as to why we feel the 49ers can or will win the Super Bowl this year. As of now, guys, they have the lowest odds of everybody.
Do we know that exact odd?
I can look it up. It's not catastrophically low compared to everybody else, but they are the lowest, and of course injuries have a big factor to play in that. But I don't like the Niners winning the Super Bowl is not as far-fetched as I feel like people are making it out to be. You can easily talk me into they get hot at the right time. You get Fred Warner back in the NFC Championship game, and even if he's not 100%, it's enough to spark you to win 2 more football games.
I think the reason why I'm with you this year on why that can't go completely dark on the Niners is because what has this been already in terms of a year? Freaking wild.
Yep.
And we heard Steve Wyche, our gracious guest from the NFL Network, say it himself. It's really been one of those years that anything can happen. And so why would that stop in the playoffs? I think we can pinpoint maybe a couple teams that we think this could be their year, but the Niners having the lowest odds to win it all, I'm not okay yet to say that, just for the fact that they haven't proven us wrong in terms of them being the underdogs with no players left.
Sure.
They just find ways to win. I think, if anything, this matchup is interesting because it's a rivalry. And it doesn't matter if it's in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter they're going to Seattle. Anything can happen when two teams like this match up. And yes, does the Seattle Seahawks have the slight advantage? Yeah,
They should.
They should.
100%.
They should. I think they're a 7.5-point favorite right now, or something along the lines
Fair.
of that. But like we always say, prove it as, the Kings organization. We're not going to believe it till we see it. I'm not going to disbelieve the 49ers not being able to do it until I see it. And maybe it's this weekend. I don't know. But I think that the coaching makes such a difference in the playoffs, and that's what they have. They have a coach who probably is one of the better coaches in the league.
Yeah, the coaching is the number one element for me of Kyle Shanahan being able to get it done, which is hilarious because in so many ways the biggest gripe against Kyle Shanahan is he hasn't been able to get it done, right? He's gotten there and fallen short a couple of times, but it's not only that this year has been so weird in the NFL with all these teams that have made it and who's been good and who's been bad and who's not playing right now, but game plans are incredibly important, and I'm not going to disregard game plans, but there are so many times in playoff football games where you just need to scramble or you need to come up with something on the fly. And I'm not talking about a quarterback scrambling. I'm just meaning like your plan falters or it changes or something. You just got
adjustments.
You have to find a way to win. And the Niners have entire seasons worth of examples of just finding a way to win. And there's different levels of playoff experience. I think people use playoff experience as a broad term to kind of disregard young teams that are making their first or second playoff appearances, and it's annoying for those teams to deal with. But there are different levels of experience. It's not the Niners' experience of being to the NFC Championship game a lot and making it to the Super Bowl that I'm talking about. It's their experience this season of if the game gets muddy, if it goes this way, if it goes that way, we've won different games in all circumstances, so we feel like we can handle whatever's thrown at us. That's what I feel is the biggest difference for them.
I do too. And Kyle, we got to get you in as our phone caller.
Receptionist.
Yeah, answerer over there. What do you think? I mean, obviously coaching is a big bonus for them.
Okay, so I'm grasping real hard to find another reason other than coaching because I believe so much in this Seahawks team. They have the number one ranked defense in the NFL this season. I will say, though, their weakest link of the number one ranked defense in the NFL is their rushing defense. And so if you're holding on to something, it is the idea that Kyle Shanahan is obsessed with time of possession and is obsessed with these zone running schemes. And so the idea is if you get the ball early, you get the ball in the hands of Christian McCaffrey, and you hold the ball for 6, 7, 8 minutes at a time, you can wear out that defense, play into the style of offense that, again, there's not a great way to beat the Seahawks, but it's probably a better strategy than what they tried back in Week 18. That's the silver lining I would point to is like, hey, you hold the ball early, win time of possession. It's 7-7 at the end at halftime, and maybe you capitalize in the second half. But even with the Niners defense is struggling, Seahawks offense is excellent. That's kind of their best game plan is just to win one of these like 13-10, 17-3, or 17-13 type of games at the end.
Well, I like, again, this is going back to coaching, but Shanahan is a genius, and I think he's probably not slept at all this week, game planning for this one against the Seahawks. But like I asked Steve Wyche about the Sam Darnold ghost, and I was so thankful that he actually agreed that until you prove, Sam Darnold, that you can do it in the playoffs, then there's not a lot of people who are going to believe you. And if you are Kyle Shanahan, in the back of my mind, I'm like, what can we do to do everything we can to make him make mistakes? Because playoff football, you really can't make many mistakes.
Yep.
And if you can be the team that can just create a couple, situations with Sam Darnold, I know the pass rush isn't great, but just a little bit of pressure in some way that you can get to him, at least, making him feel the pressure a little bit. I feel like just getting him off his rocker a little could also be an advantage. And again, Steve said it's the run game that has helped the Seahawks as of recent too. So if at least you could get one of those things to crack, maybe you take advantage of that.
And maybe another way to look at that too, Kayla, is if it's going to be difficult for you to force him to make mistakes because of the pass rush, well, then force him to beat you. Force him to make the big throw on the game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. Yeah, just force him to beat you. And then if he does, you tip your cap. Don't give up 150 yards to Smith and Jigba. Don't give up a bunch of running. And it's easy for us to say, like, hey, just don't do it.
Right?
But if you
come on, you bums.
Yeah,
you
come
bums,
on.
what the heck?
Work harder, I
Put
say
me
from
out
my
there.
comfy chair eating popcorn.
Come on, Eric Kendricks, who got signed 3 weeks ago.
Do better, you 270-pound man with just muscle. Do better, I say, from my stick figure frame. But maybe it's just as simple as two things. One, Sam Darnold, just force him to beat you. Yeah. And if he does, you tip your cap. And two, Christian McCaffrey, just don't break. We're going to put the whole weight of everything on your shoulders.
And he's used to it by now.
That's it. Like, and there's a question about Brock Purdy in a second too, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
But with Christian McCaffrey, it's crazy all the injuries the Niners have dealt with this year, and Christian hasn't been that. Knock on wood as aggressively as possible.
I'm so scared now.
But that might be it. It's not just winning in Seattle; it's winning a Super Bowl. It just might have to be Christian McCaffrey. You have to have a stretch that we're going to refer to when you're making your Hall of Fame speech.
Yep, it's the CMC stretch.
Yep.
Right. Remember that game in Seattle? Like, we just had to put it all on your shoulders.
I don't remember this.
No, I'm saying
no. It's going to.
Oh, I see what you. I was like, is there another game? Are you referencing something?
That's
Did I miss it?
I am completely lost.
No, it's going to
here.
be like Derrick Henry against the Ravens in 2019 or something like that that we think of.
And it's through the air and on the ground, Kyle.
Well, I think the other side too is run the ball, McCaffrey, but run it to the left side where Trent Williams is.
Yeah.
Like, just run behind Trent Williams the entire time. That's your plan.
Jump on Trent's back and let Trent just carry you and fight everybody off like you're jousting.
Because I do think that's real. Trent didn't play in Week 18, and I've said for years Trent Williams is the most valuable player on the 49ers.
But the Niners did struggle to get the run game going in Philadelphia, though, and Trent Williams played.
That is true.
So that's maybe not the best case scenario. But is it bad that we haven't brought up Brock Purdy? Because they paid him like the franchise quarterback, and there's clearly still this feeling of, is he reliable enough to get it done?
No, and that's a good question. Maybe we can answer that after the break, because I do feel like we haven't talked about him enough in terms of like how much weight is on his shoulders, because he hasn't been perfect by any means.
And we started the first show that we did together talking about, is Purdy starting to inch his way into that territory of how we've referred to Jimmy Garoppolo as like, that one interception's coming. Hopefully it's just one, but it's coming. He's going to throw a bad ball, and is it backbreaking or not? I feel like against a defense like Seattle, an interception, I'd be shocked if Purdy doesn't throw a pick.
Same here, unless he learned from last week.
True. Well, to be fair, the pick that he threw, that Christian McCaffrey pick was just like, it was just a fluke. It was a fluke pick, but regardless, it's a pick. It goes against you. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about Brock Purdy.
Also,
when we come
guys,
back.
I saw something that might affect your Raiders, but probably more in a positive way, making them easier to have a pick.
Now, that's what I call a tease. Kayla is going to pay that off for us. And then our law offenses, we're breaking it up. We're breaking it up. We're going our own way. I'm leaving you guys, and I'm going to defend the Buffalo Bills, and you guys can defend whoever the heck you want. That's coming up next on Sactown Sports.
Savino and Barnes, injury attorneys, 800-888-8888.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Big savings are back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Looking to own or lease? We have options for everyone. Plus, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make for lower payments. It's no wonder Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not.
Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Folsom Lake Honda. Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room, inviting you to come join them every Wednesday for their midweek madness drawing, giving away $2,000 in total cash starting at 6 p.m. It's a safe and friendly environment, plenty of well-lit parking available, and it's conveniently located right there in downtown Sacramento. And remember, best food, best service, best games, 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com and gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, feeling low energy or low drive? It could be low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health, start with a free T-check and consultation. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off TRT. Book now at ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Welcome back in, Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports. Hopefully this show lasts longer than our law office did.
That was quick.
The George and Anderson Law Office, we defended in the last segment why we feel the 49ers are could make a Super Bowl run. And then now we're breaking up because we're all picking different teams to defend in this segment. But before we get to that, though, Kayla, you perked my ears up as a Raider fan because you had an interesting tease about the Raiders' first-round pick and it now, or first overall pick, and now it potentially becoming easier. Do tell.
Because I understand why you guys are like, I don't trust the Raiders to make the right decision.
Raiders gonna Raider.
They are. So this might make it a little easier in terms of just, the pick. But breaking news, Oregon quarterback Dante Moore has announced, this was actually on SportsCenter where he announced it, that he is returning to Oregon next season. He was projected, of course, as one of the top picks coming up in the 2026 draft.
Interesting.
Yeah. So how do you feel? Are you a little bit more...
Well, good. The temptation is removed, I suppose. Although, no disrespect to Dante Moore, there shouldn't have been any temptation. It's not just a one-game judgment to say Fernando Mendoza's the pick, but it helped to see Fernando Mendoza absolutely outduel Dante Moore. He's the pick.
Fernando.
They need to play that when they. I need to see hear Commissioner. Why am I blanking on his freaking name? Goodell.
Yeah.
We need to hear him sing Fernando.
That's the song they play as he walks to the stage.
Honestly,
that'd be awesome.
It'd be pretty cringe of the NFL to do it.
So, as he's giving the hug.
It's an easy decision for the Raiders. It should be an easy decision for the Raiders. But why though for Dante Moore? This is a kind of weak quarterback class, and you're delaying you're for a lot of reasons, you're the consensus second overall pick, and there's a nice healthy payday that comes with that. Guys, is it because it's the Jets and he's looking at the Jets and going, I don't want to go there?
I mean, Kyle came in here in break and we were discussing a little bit of, the organizational thing. And when we brought up the Jets, all of us are like, ugh.
That's coming from a Raider fan.
That's coming from a Raider fan. And we talk about front offices even, and that's been a little bit unstable. I know there's, owner's been there forever, but there's been a lot of controversy too. Mm-hmm. And so it is one of those things where I wouldn't put it past the teams of these young players, the people that they have around them to give them certain advice. Mm-hmm. Now, whether or not you take the advice, that's up to you as a player. But it looks like maybe there is even some advice of, hey, you could probably at this point be going to the Jets. Mm-hmm. And Dante's like, nah. I'll just go back and get paid at Oregon.
Yeah, he's getting paid, that's for sure.
And get better.
Yeah.
And get better.
I have a hard time believing, though. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about the quarterback class of 2027. But does this...
Arch Manning. Oh.
Yeah. I mean...
Arch is going back to Texas, I
believe,
no,
right? I'm being silly. No one's going to draft him. He's not good.
So, poor Arch Manning. Are we, does this make it more likely that he's number one overall, or does this make it more likely that he drops?
Fernando?
Dante. It was him and Fernando for the number one spot. Fernando's going to win it without a doubt. That's why it's almost like a political thing. I'm pulling out before I can lose. I'm pulling out. I succeed or whatever. But I don't know if this. I don't feel like this increases Dante Moore's chances of being the number one overall pick. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes back to Oregon and kills it next year. But I don't know. It's hard to get to that position and stay in that position.
I think money has all to do with it now. I think it's almost that simple that money talks, and I know money is big in the NFL too, but he did not end his season well, guys.
No.
He ended his season actually embarrassing way in terms of a head-to-head with the guy that's now probably going to be taken number one, and you looked awful. And then maybe getting that advice with, hey, do you really want to go to the Jets at this point? And you can make all this money back at Oregon this next year. There's probably a mixture of things, I would say. But money does talk. And now there's a lot of money in college football.
Yeah, maybe you're Dante Moore and you're going, okay, Eugene, Oregon, or there's a ton of NIL money there. I'm still the face of one of the biggest programs in college football, period. I'm a king over there in Eugene, Oregon. I'm getting a boatload of money, and I'm avoiding playing for the Jets next year. And I'm going to roll the dice again and see if there's maybe a different team that's a little more stable or less of just that next year when I enter the draft.
Quarterbacks die in the Jets land.
Yeah, comparatively, and I'm not talking from this pedestal of greatness that is a Raider fan, but Derek Carr became good for the Raiders, or he showed promise and was their franchise quarterback for a long time. There's longevity there. The Jets have not had that. They've cycled through quarterback after quarterback after quarterback after quarterback.
Doesn't matter if they draft him or bring him over as a new quarterback from another place.
You're there to, I guess, collect a paycheck, get sacked a lot, and have your name ruined, and then you go somewhere else, and maybe you revitalize your career, or maybe you just ride off into the sunset. So it's hard to blame Dante Moore. Maybe this is a really smart move by Dante Moore.
We'll have to see. We'll see how it turns out, because there could be quarterbacks that come out this next season and then he's not even considered number two.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a roll
It's a
of
risk.
dice.
For sure it's a risk.
But you know what? Whoever's giving him advice, it's not me. So I guess he trusts that person.
Maybe less of a risk though than playing for the New York Jets.
I am on with. I do not want to go to the Jets. I'm sorry. No way. Thank you. I'm out.
So I just looked up the 2027 draft class. We'll see. It's too early to know whether they're going to be good or not. You got Sayin at Ohio State is kind of the consensus number one. After that, it's who knows. DJ Lagway's one that people bring up. But again, you don't know until you get there, which is why, Again, the world has changed in NIL, and I'm sure he's getting 8 figures to play at Oregon, but he seems like a fool to me for going back to school instead of taking that NFL money.
Well, only time will tell, I guess, if he was smart or not, but at least it's one temptation off the table for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now they just have to avoid the other temptations of trade offers. No, Tom. Just say no. Take Fernando, and hopefully it works out. Just take Fernando. All right. The law offices of George and Anderson have broken up. We're going our separate ways. We each have, and even our receptionist has graduated, stabbed us in the back. We taught him everything we know. And now our receptionist has formed the Ledbetter Law offices. He's got a team. You've got a team. I've got a team to make a case for as to why we think they will make the Super Bowl run. They will, in this weird NFL season, they will be the ones at the end hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Who wants to go first? Who wants to take the stand first?
Just give it to Kyle, because Kyle, we always cut him short.
Yeah, okay. So that's why he stabbed us in the back.
Like, Kyle, you got 1 second, go.
Yeah, Kyle, you have 30 seconds. Tell us immediately.
Christian McCaffrey, he's good at football.
That's why he stabbed us in the back. He's coming after me.
It's the Barnes firm. That's what it is now.
No, not Barnes.
Yeah, those commercials not as catchy as the other ones. My team that I will advocate for is the New England Patriots. I will make the case for them going to the Super Bowl.
Guilty.
Well, first of all, they've got Kayla's number one coach, Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel, soon to be two-time Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. But usually, if you have an elite unit on one side or the other and no glaring weaknesses, that's usually a good formula for a deep playoff run. They have the number 2 ranked offense in the NFL, according to DVOA. Only the Rams were ahead of them. Defense was kind of middle of the pack this year, saw some improvement as the year went along. Look at that AFC playoff picture. They either will host all the way to the Super Bowl or have to go to Denver, which, hey, Denver's got a great defense. New England's got a great offense. We'll see how all of that goes. But, yeah, I think the Patriots are going to win the AFC. I don't know if that means they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I do think that because they have the best offense in the AFC and the best unit on either side of the... Like, if you ranked everyone's offenses and defenses, I would put the Patriots as the best unit left in the playoffs of any AFC team. Because of that, I feel pretty good about the Patriots' chances. Also, they held the Chargers to 3 points. So the defense is statistically not that good, but has been better in December onward. So I will take the Patriots to win the AFC and maybe the Super Bowl.
This is also going to turn into a murder trial because what the Patriots did to Justin Herbert should be investigated. They beat the what out of that poor guy.
I wonder how his repaired wrist is doing.
Ugh.
Like, I'm sure he's got to get surgery again on it.
He got beat.
Can you imagine playing with our cast, Matt, that we had?
Nope.
Playing football?
Nope.
Being sacked like that,
Nope.
and we had surgery just like 4 weeks prior?
Nope.
Yeah, right.
I'm staying down and I'm crying.
Yeah, right.
Fetal position, first snap of the game. I'm taking the snap. I'm laying down. I'm running clock. Get me out of there. Please no. Please no. All right.
Do we? I was gonna say, do we have time, or do we? I mean,
Do we?
Got a minute each.
A minute. Okay.
Oh, okay. I gotta be.
See?
I'm like, I don't know. Okay, let's see.
The Ledbetter office is over here. He's turning it around on us.
Okay, I'm going with the Houston Texans. This is why. First and foremost, defense.
Yep.
I hate that stupid saying, but defense does usually win championships.
Yep.
This defense is nasty. It's dirty. It's got some dogs in it. I've covered a lot of these guys, whether it be in college with Will Anderson or Azeez Al-Shaair that came over from the Niners organization, then went to the Titans. These guys have a different type of mentality. By the way, Anderson, 12 sacks, tied for 8th in the NFL. Danielle Hunter, 15 sacks this season. He is third best. They're going to get to the opposing quarterback and make their life you-know-what during the playoffs this season. To talk about it, their defense is top 10 in almost everything. It's one of the best defenses all around this season in the league. But I think sometimes we aren't giving the offense enough credit to just at least let C.J. Stroud, who's going to go to the playoffs for the 3rd time this season, have a chance to let his defense carry him and then just don't make mistakes. And I know he made a lot of mistakes in this last game. I think he's a smart kid. I think he can learn from those and just make sure you can just do the basics. Don't make mistakes and let your defense carry you through. I think the Texans could be a surprise team to win.
I don't need a lot of time at all to make my argument. Doesn't mean it's a good argument, but I'm leaning heavily just on the shoulders of Josh Allen, right? I mean, the quarterback who's been there, done that, reigning MVP for a minute. Josh Allen's due. It just feels like he's due for that performance. Granted, his team is like Steve Wyche talked about, a lot worse this year than it's been in years past, but sometimes you just got to get there and let your stardom carry you through. There's no Patrick Mahomes in his way now, so the runway is open. It's not going to be easy, but the runway is there. Kyle made a really good argument about the offense of the Patriots. The difference between the offense of the Patriots and the offense of the Bills, though, is Drake May versus Josh Allen. Also, I think James Cook is due for some breakout games, too. And I think the run game is going to be a big thing. So give me the Bills in that sense, but I wouldn't say I feel overly confident about it. But I am confident that you're going to stick around after this break because the next segment is your segment. It's the lunch break segment where you get to call in the next 25, 30 minutes. Are for you. You want to call in, talk about Mike Brown, make your case for your Super Bowl champion, talk Niners, Seahawks, whatever you want to talk about. It's coming up next on Sactown Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-771-1300. That's 800-771-1300.
Happy New Year, Susan. I really appreciate you picking up the bill for lunch.
I'm happy to. One of my New Year's resolutions is being better with money. So I've started using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for buying gas.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I earn cash back just for buying the gas I was already buying.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make $200 to $300 this year.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play and start earning cash back on everyday gas purchases. Use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents per gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RIDER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RIDER. Code RIDER. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-718-4040. That's 800-718-4040. 800-718-4040.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Lunch break! Everybody stop what you're doing. Put your pencils down. Do people still use pencils? I only use pens. I'm not a pencil person.
I just use pens, but I kind of like the old school, like using a pencil every now and then.
Really? Oh, mechanical pencils break it over and over again, and then wood pencils, like, I hate them. Dig into your fingers. Anyway, put your pencils down. Put your computers away. Kyle's got a pen. Is that a pen or a pencil?
Mechanical pencils.
Mechanical pen. Yeah.
He has one?
Yeah.
I have two.
He's rocking one right now.
Goodness.
And it's bright red.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chiefs fandom. Yeah.
There's a purple one in here, too.
Hey, we're okay with that one.
There we go.
We accept that mechanical pencil. Lunch break is a segment for you. Over the first 2 hours, we've talked a lot about the Kings. We're going to reset, talk a little bit more about Mike Brown's return to Sacramento. I know Kings fans are very passionate about Mike Brown one way or another, just like I am. If you want to call in and share your thoughts on Mike Brown's return, any questions that you have, if you missed last night's episode of the Matt George podcast when I dove in and talked a lot about what Mike and his coaching staff underwent once the playoffs ended and how things became a lot more difficult for them, which was the start of the end of the Beam team and got us to this point now where the Kings are 10-30 and Mike is returning to Sacramento as the head coach of the NBA Cup champion, New York Knicks. You can reach out and call about that. You want to talk football? We've been talking a lot of football. We were just defending who we think or making cases for who we think would be a Super Bowl champion. If you want to do that, you can reach out and do that as well. 916-339-1140, 800-920-1140. We can also talk Sharks hockey if you want. Any other things that you're potentially interested in, Kayla, it's an open book. If you want to call in and talk to us, hopefully it's sports related, but we'll take the calls. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because when you have a new radio show and reminding people, this is our third day on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Matt and I met for the first time last Monday.
Yep.
And so we're kind of creating something organically.
Right.
Like we have certain things we're trying to make things a thing. But this is something where we always talk to people and get feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things is why don't you guys talk more of this? Why don't you talk more of that? That's the first question I always get when, I'm doing radio stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is your time as a listener to control the narrative for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why we throw it out there. And it's, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yep.
But I want to hear from the listeners.
Well,
I think it'll be interesting.
Let's hear from Lawrence. Lawrence calling in during his lunch break, or it might not be, but it's our lunch break here. Lawrence, welcome into Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm doing good. I just want to mention I'm a longtime listener, semi-long-time of the sports show here and your podcast. But, I think it's a great lineup what the station did with you guys and then the Drive guys. It's just going to be awesome.
Thank you, Lawrence.
I don't always call or text or anything, but I do listen most every day. But I just want to mention, I'm originally from Seattle, so when I grew up, they did not have the Mariners nor the Seahawks, so I became a 49er and Giant fan. Since then, my sons, who, they grew up in that era where they're Mariners fans, they're Seahawks fans, so it's going to be a big game this week, of course. And it'll be interesting to see what happens. But also, I heard Kalen bring up on one of the fill-in shows she did earlier was about the Seattle Supersonics. And, of course, growing up there, I was a Sonic fan. Hope they can get the team back and actually name it the Sonics again. I understand they still have the logos and that's under their jurisdiction. So.
Yeah. Lawrence, thank you so much for the phone call. We really appreciate you taking the time and calling in. Seattle, I've never actually been to Seattle.
You haven't?
I've been up to Washington because my aunt used to live in Washington. I can't remember where she used to live, to be honest with you. But I've never been up to Seattle. I've only heard great things about that, but 100%, the Seattle Supersonics need to return. It's a brand that is huge in basketball. I know there's a little animosity between Seattle and Sacramento for a while because of the attempt to take the Kings. But we kept them, But you deserve a basketball team as well. I would love to see the Seattle Supersonics come back. That needs to happen. But interesting.
That's crazy.
I didn't realize that there were Seattle fans that had to choose the Niners and Giants because it was before that Mariners-Seahawks time.
That I kind of learned something new too. I mean, Lawrence said that his kids are clearly Mariners and Seahawks fans, but at the time that wasn't a choice for him, and that is really interesting. I think we forget sometimes Oregon does not have the professional teams except for obviously the Trailblazers.
Right.
So you lose a lot sometimes, if you're an older school representative from Washington, you didn't even have Oregon's pro sports to really root for. So then the next step is Northern California. It's interesting how different the West Coast is from the other parts of the country because I feel like they have access everywhere.
So here's another opportunity to get to know you a little bit, Kayla, and I have to be careful here because sometimes when I say this, it might be judgment my way. I am an only child.
Okay.
So I do not have any brothers or sisters. I have half brothers, but they're kind of part of my life. Not really.
Yeah.
Are you an only child, or do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a brother who lives here.
And are your fandoms the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there was no house divided between siblings.
My brother and I are pretty close. We're 5 years apart, but we just think the same in terms of sports. And so I am lucky because I grew up being a fan of every team he is. And then he married a gal who's from here, who was born and raised in Sacramento, who went to Gonzaga, though. So he became more of a Gonzaga basketball fan. He went to Eastern.
Okay.
So he became a Gonzaga basketball fan just because we're from Spokane, but then his wife went there. So it's kind of like, you got to do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So the house divided is like with the college game, but not with the pro. Is it because of him that you became a Seahawks fan and became a fan of the teams that you support, or is it?
No, my brother, younger. Oh yeah. 5 years younger.
Oh, younger. I thought you said you were the younger. Okay. You taught him.
I got to teach these are the teams you follow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, in my family, everybody gets their own team type thing, and I don't get it. Why can't we just get along and all root for the same? Nope, we all have to.
You've got some crazy stories.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the lunch break continues. Joey joining us here on Sactown Sports. Joey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. Hey, and welcome you two to the new slot, Midday.
Thank you.
Can't wait to keep hearing you guys. I have a question for you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on the scheduling as far as the playoff games of these, the 49ers seeming to be always on a short schedule? I was just curious what your thoughts are and take, and welcome to Sacramento and welcome to the slot. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Joey, so much. Appreciate your call.
That was an awesome question. I just read an article about that this week. And the problem is there are obviously a lot of teams now that are getting a shorter week because of the games on Saturday because they've taken over, again, every day of the week. In the playoffs, especially, guys, that is hard this time of year. And we know this, especially for a team like the 49ers, who are traveling on a short week on top of it. And then with all the injuries, they're just trying to get every day one guy healthier. I think it's tough, man. And this is what money does, though. Money talks, and they get these Saturday games, and they pay a lot of money. These networks do to have them, and the players are the ones that are sacrificing their bodies because it's already a long regular season schedule. Now they're having short weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it really adds on to the significance of those top seeds and the bye week. Because not only do the Seahawks get the bye and the Niners have to take the tough path and have to play 2 games in the same span that the Seahawks are playing 1, but from what I understand, too, the teams with the bye week, they get the Saturday game to give the other teams, the higher seeds, the Sunday game, but they played in the wild card week.
Right.
So the only teams that draw the short straw are the lowest seeds that have to play the top seeds after winning their wild card game. So that it speaks to the significance of that Niner loss to Seattle in week 18, and it could have been them rested and with home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs and forcing Seattle to deal with the short weeks. But I guess that's it's an advantage for a reason, I suppose, and that weighs a factor. That plays into it.
And I remember Shanahan even said that. He goes, this game is more important than a playoff game because it would position them so different.
Yeah.
So,
but at the same time, we had Brian Walters yesterday from Fox 13 in Seattle. He was helping us preview the game, former NFL player, and he's 100% right, too, when he talks about, like, both of these teams would gladly trade that Week 18 victory for a victory this week because this is where it really, really matters. So if Seattle, or if the Niners can find a way to get this one, then I'm sure they'll happily deal with the short schedules and stuff like that. And this Niners team has dealt with everything thrown at them so far, curveball after curveball after curveball, but I don't know if they can hit the curveball that's coming their way out of Seattle because these Seahawks, man, they're legit.
Yeah, and it's, again, you're traveling when you're not in your comfy beds and you just don't get to pop out, and go to the game, out of your own bed. I tell you, it makes a difference. Especially this time of year, their bodies are so tired. They're mentally drained, and last thing you want to do is take a flight up there and have to leave an extra day earlier. So,
well, if you want to join in on the lunch break and call into the show, you can. 916-339-1140, 800-920-1140. And Kayla, while we're waiting for the football action this weekend, we do have Kings basketball tonight to get us through a somewhat emotionally charged night. Not nearly as emotionally charged as De'Aaron Fox's first return to Sacramento, and the Kings beat the brakes off the Spurs in that game, by the way. This was like this was right before De'Aaron shut things down. Wemby wasn't playing. Zach LaVine, I think, went off in that game. So the first laugh, I guess, the Kings got. We all know who's laughing right now in San Antonio. Regardless, a lot less emotionally charged tonight, but still there is going to be some, hopefully, I don't know if the Kings are going to do any kind of honor video package. How do you do a video package for a coach? Just him on the bench, like saying hi. But I think the Kings will show him some love. They rightfully should. Yeah, just
Is
play.
that just
That's
that?
Mike Brown, just screaming. Just play him screaming. That was during
don't drive off the road.
Right, that was during his first media day. I remember that vividly.
Can you give me some context behind that?
Yeah, so it's media day, right? And we're in the Kings practice facility. And what they do is they turn the practice facility basically into like school picture day, where there's all these different booths and different people are taking pictures. And then they have a booth over there that's run by the Kings that, when you go to a game and they have those videos of like the players fake playing the bongos or playing a game or something like that. They shoot them all during media day in that area.
Got it.
And then that's where they take their NBA photos and their team photos and all that stuff. And we get one little corner of the practice facility where the media scrum is. And they bring us Mike Brown and each player one by one. So Mike is speaking to us, and over on one of the where they're shooting a promo, they're doing the classic videos or photos when the players scream,
like the muscle charge up,
and you get that photo.
Yeah.
And so I have no idea who the player was, but in the middle of Mike's press conference, the dude screams, and Mike's like, "I love that, and then he just screams right back at him. That's just, again, an example of who Mike Brown was. Mike was a total dork in the best way, and I love him for it.
He's like an Energizer Bunny, though, because like
is.
every time I've seen interviews with him, no matter who the person he's interviewing with or just up at the podium, like he just has like a different type of vibe about him.
He's like a big kid.
That's a great way to explain it. It's almost like, how do you kind of hate the guy?
Have you seen the Turn on the Freaking Jets video?
Yes.
Yeah, it's where that was, again, in training camp that same year, where this video comes out where he wanted them to run, so Mike Brown starts sprinting down the court and yells that, and all the players are laughing at him because it's Mike. It's Mike Brown's sprint.
Dude.
But again, Mike captured, he has such Dylan Cardwell energy.
There it is.
Mike Brown has Dylan Cardwell energy.
Yeah.
And so
after possession, after possession, after possession, after possession.
I won't bore people with the whole thing, but he did that for 40 consecutive seconds.
40 seconds of that. Now this was more of a dark time. This was the beginning of the end for Mike Brown, where he was frustrated with this team doing a lot of what they're doing to Doug Christie, by the way, which is sometimes they play really well, and then other times they don't. And Mike's point was we got to keep doing it possession after possession after possession. And he did
after possession.
For 40 seconds straight to start and we thought it was like, we were like, when's he going to stop? It went on. There's, if you tell a joke and there's that breaking point where, and people usually get right up to that, but then they pay it off. So it's like, he plummeted off the edge of that breaking point and almost hit the ground. And we were just like, okay, when is he going to stop?
Yeah.
And it became a meme, a bit all over the NBA where.
And then how did he end it?
Then he said.
Then he just moved on to his next point.
And then he just came out of the camp. Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's lasting for a while.
Yeah.
That's dedication right now.
It was
right there.
It felt like an eternity.
Sorry, the clip I have is 30 seconds. It's longer than that.
It's longer than that.
Holy
and
smokes.
it felt like 5 minutes when you're just sitting there in the seat. Like,
I was just
everyone just started like kind of awkwardly giggling. But like he was really trying to make a point. And he didn't say it with a smile on his face. He was dead serious. And he was trying to make a point. There was the time that I saw Mike Brown the most serious was the first season. And the Kings had just beaten the Knicks on national television. And he comes into the back and he sits down at the and normally he always sit down, usually big smile on his face and just kind of like mess with some people or whatever.
Sure.
He sits down, totally serious, takes the mic, doesn't wait for a question, just starts talking. And he ripped the team to shreds about how horrible their effort was rebounding because the Kings got killed on the glass in that game. And he said, like, we cannot do this if we're going to be a playoff team. We will lose in the playoffs and we do this. And funny enough, foreshadowing, the Kings in their playoff series against the Golden State Warriors, they got destroyed on the glass.
Kevon Looney.
Yeah, Kevon Looney, who still haunts me to this day because I'm an idiot, and I said that, like, I was laughing at the idea that Kevon Looney was going to stop Domantas Sabonis. He didn't stop Domas, but he certainly outplayed him for a lot. So it was my fault.
He locked him up.
Blame it on Matt.
Yes, he did lock him up a couple of times. The Warriors did a great job against Domas.
Also, my favorite one, unironically, the funniest thing I've ever seen was working here in the studio, the game when he brought the laptop to the post-game press conference.
Now, I have seen that is multiple times.
Unironically, the funniest thing that has happened in working in the Kings.
So Mike early on, like within the first handful of games, there were back-to-back games or games within short, I think it was back-to-back games in his first season.
Yeah.
There's a game where the Kings lose to the Heat in Miami on a buzzer beater 3 by Tyler Hero, where Hero clearly travels, like blatantly travels, and they never review it and whatever.
Sure.
So that happens. He's upset about that. Then the Kings lose to the Warriors during the regular season, and Klay Thompson either wasn't fouled or fouled. I don't remember the exact context of it, but it was something about like it should have been a foul or whatever.
Yeah.
And Mike takes to the podium and basically talks about like what, because we're the Sacramento Kings, we just don't get calls anymore or whatever. And like that was the first time where fans were like, okay, this guy's for real. So that was the thing about Mike, man. He
stood up for his players, but he was also going to call them out.
Correct.
When they clearly weren't doing what they needed to do.
To me, that's leadership.
Yeah.
But some have criticized Mike Brown of not being a very good leader of men. Matt Barnes said that verbatim. Matt Barnes said that Mike Brown is not a good leader of men. And it's crazy to me because every experience I had, again, Mike wasn't coaching me in basketball, but every experience I had about Mike Brown made me want to follow the dude. And it wasn't just because he was nice to me. Like there were a couple times where I would say some things or write some things, and he would call me and tell me or pull me aside and tell me like this is wrong and here's why.
Exactly.
So he was critical too. Like he but I always thought Mike Brown was a brilliant leader. And again, he's the one guy to get results in this city over the last 20 years. So
it brings me to a point because you brought up like he supports his players, but he's also going to call him out. Mm-hmm. And we all know professional athletes, like when you're a grown man like that or a grown woman, and you've got a coach that is not afraid to call you out, that's one thing. But I feel like Mike Brown found a good balance. And I've watched several interviews with him too on that when it comes to knowing how to call your players out, but also then knowing how to give them praise when you got to do it. And he goes specifically, the NBA's changed. Like professional sports has changed. You can't just yell at them and say, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And I know though the league firsthand, hearing from a player who's in the league right now, tell me like, if we don't like you as a coach, like, we're going to find a way to get you out.
And that's kind of what happened.
And that's kind of what happened.
A small group of players.
A small
not
group,
everybody,
yeah,
but
not the
yes.
whole thing. And but especially when it's messy like that here, and you had like a split table, like we were talking about, what table do you want to pick?
Yep.
That's even more controversial and hard to figure out.
Yeah. Branching it away a little bit from the Kings and Mike Brown, but it made me think of Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. What is your opinion on, because Sirianni very clearly, there were times when it sounded like he was out the door because his players didn't like him, and then they started winning, and suddenly it went away. Then we have that clip of him and A.J. Brown going at it like, what do you make of that style of coaching, not just in the NFL, but that style period, and is it going out of style, going out of business, I guess?
It's weird because I also take the clips from what we would see between Andy Reid and Travis Kelce on the sideline sometime. Like, they had like battles, right?
The Super Bowl. Yeah.
And for instance, the Super Bowl. But behind the scenes, it's good, but they just get frustrated, and that's how they work things out. And I believe that more with a guy like Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, because Andy Reid's just like a big teddy bear, and everybody loves him. Nick Sirianni, I'm not convinced that his players really love him. Yeah. I think it fixed things to win a Super Bowl, absolutely. But I think there is so much chaos behind the scenes in Philadelphia that we aren't even privy to what it really is, what's really going on over there. And I think, covering A.J. Brown in Tennessee when he was a lot younger in his career, he is a diva, right? Like, he is one of those wide receiver divas. But I think he is also a guy that if he has respect for you, he has respect for you. I don't see the respect factor between at least those two in terms of Sirianni and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, bringing it back to basketball, I used to think like Steve Kerr was the model example of how to do it right in coaching, because he did such a phenomenal job during that dynasty of managing egos. Now, since then, we've seen how poorly, in my opinion, he's handled a lot of these young players, including Jonathan Kuminga, and balancing the two timelines. And we've seen him basically just become a complete enabler of Draymond Green. Now, the two of them will go at it. They went at it as recently as a couple weeks ago, right? And Draymond had to leave before coming to blows.
Yeah.
But there is absolutely a relationships, ego management element to coaching that is more important than it's ever been before. And I do feel like that is an area where Mike Brown struggled. Mike was loved in Golden State by that Warriors team. But it's easier, I think, to be loved as an assistant coach because you can kind of be their friend after the head coach yells at him. You can kind of be their friend. And Doug Christie dealt with that too, where Doug was super close with Domas. Doug, I don't know if they still are. I believe they still are. But Doug and Domas worked together all the time, right? He was his developmental coach. Doug went with Domas in the offseason to work out with them wherever they travel. That was the connection. So Doug is his best friend, his confidant in the coaching staff in that sense. Doug has since taken over, and at first it was like, here's this motivator, he's going to take you up to the roof and show you the beam, and you are the light of Sacramento, and everybody responded to him and played for him well. But now you talk to Doug a lot, and he talks about, I have to be the bad guy, I'm the bad guy this, because somebody's going to be ticked off because they're not getting playing time.
Yeah.
Coaching is an unbelievably difficult job.
It is so hard.
Regardless of who, they call them the fall guys for a reason, because, Kayla, the reality is it's easier to fire one person than it is to fire or trade half your team.
Yeah, and that's why, Mike Brown spent years as, an associate head coach in a lot of places and had success, and won championships, in Golden State, being that guy. And he didn't have to be the fall guy. That is the benefit of being kind of the guy that's there to win it all and help develop, because he developed a lot of good players. But then when it's on you, when the spotlight's on you, quickly does it turn to it is all your fault. And there's so much more that goes into the reasons why teams fail.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I do believe Mike Brown is a significantly better head coach than Doug Christie is. But Mike Brown and Doug Christie are both dealing with the exact same problem here in Sacramento. Mike dealt with it. Doug's dealing with it right now. We'll talk about that. Plus, rumors galore. The Raptors are interested in Domantas Sabonis. Ja Morant. We got an update from Carmichael Dave on how interested the Kings are in Ja Morant. We'll talk about that all coming up next on Sactown Sports.
Listen to the #1 sports lineup in Sacramento.
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Matt George, and Kayla Anderson. The Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Alan Stiles.
Every weekday live and local 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Online at SactownSports.com or download the app right on your phone. Your #1 source for all your Northern California sports. Sactown Sports 1140.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You live for this. The wins, the losses, the slam dunks, and the buzzer beaters. The dream that this is your team's year. Hope. It's what keeps you coming back. So you represent with anticipation and with pride. Because when everything's on the line, your support means everything. That's why the NBA Store is here to support you. Check out the largest selection of official NBA gear at NBAstore.com. A Fanatics experience.
Join Sactown Sports downtown before every Kings game and pick up an In Shape Fitness Kings Rally towel while supplies last. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
Sacramento's Outwork playlist is Mix 96.
I'm in love with the shape of you.
Now with 4 opportunities each weekday to be our $1,000 Employee of the Day. Today's hits and yesterday's favorites, Mix 96.
If you're serious about your golf game, then you need to know about Total Game Fitting at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Whether it's the TrackMan-powered player performance studio for your best fit clubs, or the cutting-edge technology putter fitting studio, or the free Ballnamic ball fitter and 3D foot scanner, the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop offers you total game fitting from head to toe with equipment and apparel. Find your advantage at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop with the latest offering of new golf products in Northern California. Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Country in the Park is back. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo. Miranda Lambert. John Party. Chris Young. Turnpike Troubadours. Dylan Scott and more. Line dancing, live DJs, mechanical bulls, huge festival area, and food trucks. Tickets start at only $68. Country in the Park. May 8th and 9th at Cal Expo with Michelob Ultra and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. More info at CITVFest.com.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center January 23rd through 25th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
You ever notice how the other guys scream about massive discounts on their Dodge, Chrysler, or Jeep Ram vehicles? Then you get to the fine print and boom, another $5,200 in mandatory ads. At Hoblet, we don't insult your intelligence. The price you see is the price you pay. No mystery add-ons, no bait and switch, no gotcha when you sit down to buy. Hoblet, family owned for 77 years. Transparency, straightforward pricing. Buy it right. Buy it at Hoblet.
Award-winning guitarist and songwriter Gary Clark Jr. Tour 2026, Saturday, January 31st, 7 p.m., the venue at Thunder Valley. An electrifying night of music with Gary Clark Jr. Special guest, Marcus King Band. On sale at the venue at Thunder Valley. For tickets, visit ThunderValleyResort.com. Gary Clark Jr. Live.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
Sacramento's our own version of Paradise City, right? Kinda?
Yeah, sure.
Suburban paradise?
Hey, it's been sunny for the last, almost 2 weeks now. I am not complaining after that fog gate.
I'm just saying, it was foggy when there was all this uncertainty about what this radio show lineup was going to be, and as soon as, Matt and Kayla are coming back,
it cleared.
The sun comes out.
Yeah.
I'm just
Even
saying.
if you're still trying to get used to us.
I'm just saying.
You know?
Maybe that was them telling us, go outside.
Yeah.
Enjoy the outdoors.
And kick rocks. Touch grass. Right? How about that? It's been beautiful outside. A little chilly in the mornings, a little frosty in the mornings. I park my car. I have a 2-car garage, but it's loaded with stuff because I never fully unpacked, and I've lived in my house for 3 years. I don't think I've parked my car in the garage of the places that I've lived at any point in my adult life, or even since I was 16 and I got. I don't know. It's intentionally.
Do you have a gym in your garage?
I'm supposed
That's
to.
That's what you need to do.
My wife and I do need to build a gym in our garage, but people don't realize this. Gym equipment is very expensive.
I know. You have to kind of put a little into it, but it pays off.
We also have cats.
Yes.
Cats need a place to go to the bathroom, and
so you put the kitty litter out there.
Yeah.
With the cat box.
No one wants to do yoga and stretching and have kitty litter everywhere like you're coming home from the beach.
By the way, I didn't run over. I take that back. I did not run over a skunk today. I drove around a skunk today. Looked like a fresh one. And when I pulled into the parking lot this morning, Kyle pulled in at the same time. And for some reason, I got out of the car. I smelled skunk everywhere.
Uh-oh.
You
got hit.
So I didn't. Yeah.
I don't smell anything, so you're good.
The stinker could have. I think it was still spraying.
Oh no!
Spraying.
It's like a sprinkler.
So I'm gonna go double check that when I'm done today. Make sure it's still not stanky. But those things are deadly, man.
My mom told me something this weekend that I had a disgusted reaction to it. Apparently, people skunks make really good pets, and people have, I guess, the stink part removed, and then skunks are great pets.
I've heard this too.
Y'all are psychos.
That is crazy.
Get some help. Okay, get some help. I know during COVID, we all got into the Tiger King and having tigers. We all agree that's universally unacceptable.
Yes.
Having a skunk should be in that category.
I agree with you, but I've heard this several times.
Although maybe where my argument falls apart is pet raccoons. I think raccoons
they're mean.
They are mean.
Yeah, you also probably shouldn't have one of those.
No, well, and don't, if you, I learned very quickly, if you have a raccoon near your house, do not feed it, because then it will continue to come around, and if raccoons will beat the crap out of any animal or pet that you have.
Yeah.
But they're so cute.
They are cute.
Trash pandas.
They eat cat food specifically.
Oh, well, no wonder I attracted them.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, okay.
The more you know.
Don't have a pet skunk. How about that?
Were you filling in the day, Kayla, when Dave showed up after his dog got skunked and the studio smelled like skunk?
About this.
This is not that long ago, but his son got sent home from school. So the dog got skunked, and then the dog was running around, and they had to track the dog down. Dave's son got sent home from school because they sent him smelling like a skunk.
They sent him home from school?
Yes, they sent him home from school because he smelled like a skunk, and Dave decided to sit in that studio while smelling like a skunk.
That's horrible.
Dave.
I've never been. Have you guys ever been sprayed?
No, thank goodness.
No.
Is it true a tomato bath? Is that just a myth? Or do you actually bathe in tomato soup or whatever? That's a real thing?
It's not as effective as people make it out to be, but it does work.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
It's not going to make you smell perfectly fresh, but it does diminish the smell.
See, I don't know what I would do. Just surround myself with candles. I'm a candle person. I like candles.
Surround myself. You're in your. I'm just.
It just looks like a demonic ritual.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there with a bunch
of. You got the Ouija board out,
and they're not the same scented candles too. So it just is it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like spraying Febreze on something that smells terrible. It doesn't work at all. It just makes it worse.
You've got pine mixed with mango for some reason.
Yeah.
I love candles though. I'm a candle person.
I actually do too.
Woodwick candles. I love. I'm all about
that noise.
Yep. I on my desk at home. I like dark rooms, dim lights, a candle with a Woodwick candle. That's as productive as you're gonna get me.
Yeah.
Is doing stuff like that. I love to live in the dark, and my wife. The rest of the house is bright and sunshiny, and then I have a little cave.
I like dark stuff with then a little light. That's how I am.
A little
too.
bit. See, I'm full blackout curtain.
This is a lot for me in this studio.
This is a lot.
I'm I have headache every time because I'm there is way too much light.
There are a lot of light. There are a lot of lights in here. That's for sure. And text line, call line, you don't have to say it. I'll say it for you. Yes, I could use more sun. I understand. I appreciate it. Thanks. That's what
I was going to say, this whole candle conversation is very pasty.
That's what I try and go. Hey, look, Bed Bath & Beyond has great candle sales every once in a while. You can go in there and get like 72 candles for like $5, and it keeps you.
And then you're going to light them all at once.
Yeah, when I get skunked, I'm going to sit in the middle of my living room and surround myself with candles and light them all, and my wife will leave me.
Your wife will come home and be like, there's a fire in the house. What are you doing?
You're divorced. I'm leaving, and I'm taking your son. Well, the Sacramento Kings have been hoping, watch this segue. The Kings have been hoping that they can have some teams out there take some players off their hands, some veterans off their hands, and we've heard rumors and connections about everybody from Malik Monk, who the Kings seemingly are trying to get rid of, to DeMar DeRozan, who I feel like should absolutely have a bunch of interest around the league, but it just doesn't seem like he does as much as I would expect. It's kind of feel the same way about Malik Monk, to be honest. And then you've got Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis, who are two guys that I don't expect to be gone, period, because their contracts are as big as they are. But we keep hearing these rumors of teams that are interested. The Milwaukee Bucks, apparently very interested, to the point where on Sactown Sports right now, SactownSports.com, you can read an article by our own Frankie Cardicelli, who speaks on...
the boom! That's what we do!
I don't get the reference.
Okay, I wanted to know this too.
Oh,
is that a Frankie Cardicelli reference?
Yeah.
Yes, that's Frankie's noise.
We bring the boom! That's what we do!
I was always wondering the meaning behind that too, but we can get to that in another day.
No, this is good though, because Frankie's going to be a very important part of the show once baseball season starts. Frankie is a Yankee fan, and it's hilarious to listen to Frankie talk about the Yankees because he's miserable the entire time. He's just a miserable Yankees fan who gets super stressed out about everything. I love when Frankie's stressed. It gives me joy. So we're going to give Frankie a minute or something. We're going to have Frankie's Yankee minute when season starts, and if he just is kicked off, we're just going to let him go, and no one else is going to enjoy it except for us, and I don't care.
That will fit too. He brings the boom because he's going to be mad.
Okay, so that is part of the lore, but it's... Anyways, so you know that the people who do that are the Costco guys?
The Costco guys? Is that the name of the group?
No, it's like a dad and a son, and they would give like big booms on the internet.
Oh, I heard that.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, remember those guys? Yeah, they'd be like big boom, like they were called the Costco guys, and they'd be like big boom to different things.
We bring the boom!
So
That's what we do!
it's a dad and a son, and they were super viral like 2 years ago on TikTok. And they at one point became, or I guess the Yankees maybe paid them. They were like doing Yankees content during the playoffs. And so there was a video where they were wearing Yankees hats and giving big booms to Yankees players. And when Jason Ross and Frankie were on, they played that for them. And Jason Ross thought it was cool, and Frankie hated it.
I hate all of this.
Yeah. So anyways, we play this because it annoys... Pretty much everything we do annoys Frankie.
Yes.
But we play this because of that story with the Costco guys.
I am already the crotchety old man that anything that like the internet generation now does, I think is stupid. Like the 6'7" boils my blood. I cannot stand that. And my son is starting to do it now.
My nephews are out of control with it.
God, it's gross. From our the YouTube chat, someone said, "Ugh, that's gonna suck as a Red Sox fan." I assume you're talking about Frankie's Yankee Minute. No, quite the opposite. You're gonna find enjoyment from it because it's just Frankie melting down about the Yankees and getting stressed out about the Yankees, and it's so much fun. It's so enjoyable. You will find enjoyment of it as a Red Sox fan. And if you don't really care because it's for me. I just want to see him stress out.
He wants that.
That was a long tangent. Frankie wrote an article that there is serious interest, apparently, still in Zach LaVine. And this comes out of a place of desperation. The Kings acquired Zach LaVine because I guess they were desperate to get rid of De'Aaron Fox, and that's who Vivek wanted, and they should never have done it, but they did it. And now the Milwaukee Bucks are desperate to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo around. So who do they have their eyes on? Either Zach LaVine or Ja Morant. The Kings didn't have a Giannis to appease, and I know Giannis is one of the greatest players, period.
Right.
It feels like he's going to go regardless. Zach LaVine and Ja Morant aren't changing his mind. If you're the Bucks, just cut your losses. I would love for the Kings to trade Zach LaVine to the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people love
If
that.
I'm advising the Bucks, I'm like, don't do it.
No, don't do either of them if you're the Bucks. But then again, yes, do it. Yes, do it. Yes, do it.
Please,
in terms of Zach
please.
LaVine.
Yes, he's great.
But why? I mean, don't sell yourself to the point where you're just doing something to do something.
Yeah.
That's how I believe things should be done. But I know the business works in a different way. But I think that's a wrong decision on their part if they did either of those trades.
And you're spot on with what you just said right there. Don't do something to do something. That's been kind of the MO of the Kings recently, and I think that's what Scott Perry's trying to get rid of. At the same time, though, he does need to do something.
Yeah, we need one move at least.
He does need to get one of these veterans minimum out of here.
Ship him out.
Potentially two. Maybe Keon Ellis will be on the move as well. The other part of this is apparently the Toronto Raptors are really interested in Domantas Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
The caveat, though, or the catch is they want to send like a package of 3 of their players with big contracts. So all of them are less money than Domas, of course, but we're talking about Emmanuel Quickley, who's got 3 years left on his deal at $32.5 million per year. You got RJ Barrett, who's got 1 year left on his deal after this year at $29 million. And you have Jakob Poeltl, who will next season start a 3-year deal at around $27 to $29 million per year.
Right.
No.
And
Just
again, doing something to do something.
Yeah.
I get it. You want to get one of these guys out of here.
Yep.
But I still am not fully convinced that like they're ready to part ways with Domas.
Yeah. I think actually, you know what? Let's talk about that because I think you are absolutely right. We'll talk about that a little bit in the next segment because there's definitely some stuff there. Plus, we've never talked MLB on this show.
I know.
And there
I'm
are a couple of little
actually.
baseball stories. So we'll talk about that after the Domas conversation when we come back on Sactown Sports.
The San Francisco 49ers' quest for 6 goes through a familiar rival.
He's got it and 20 more. Touchdown, Seattle.
Niners Seahawks this Saturday. Kickoff at 5 p.m. only on Sactown Sports 1140.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners pull off the big-time upset in Philly, defeating the defending champs 23-19. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in the win. The D comes up with a stop in the final minute to secure the win. Niners now travel to Seattle on Saturday for a divisional round playoff game. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports 1140, beginning at 4 o'clock.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 MPG combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Amy Cox did something smart. She saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. And with that money, she decided to treat herself to an anti-aging red light mask. Will she look like a horror movie villain every night? Yes. Will her boyfriend Kevin be scarred for life? That's certainly a risk. But it's Amy's savings, and if she's willing to risk her relationship for smooth, wrinkle-free skin, well, bye-bye, Kevin. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You can swirl it, you can sip it, but the best way is to share it. Hey y'all, I'm Deanna, a team member at my local Chick-fil-A. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and new frosted sodas and floats is how well they go together. You get that bold flavor of the Coke mixed with the smooth deliciousness of the vanilla ice cream. You have a juicy filet and a smooth, creamy float. It's an awesome pairing.
Order a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and a new frosted soda and float at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant. Real team member paid for their testimonial.
Catch all the action at Sky River Casino. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and a thrilling high-limit room. Plus, with 18 elevated restaurants, bars, and lounge destinations, and Sky River rewards that add up and up. There's something for everyone. Just minutes from Sacramento, right off Highway 99 in Elk Grove. Join in the fun and experience new heights. Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Guys, your New Year goals start now. Get limited time savings on our most popular treatments at Revive Men's Health. Visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com to see if you qualify to save hundreds.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
On the night that Mike Brown returns, he will face some of his former players, like Keon Ellis, for example. Keon Ellis got his opportunity from Mike Brown first. Now, Keon was also a controversial reason as to why or how Mike Brown used Keon. That was the reason that a lot of people pointed to as to why Mike deserved to lose his job, because they felt he mishandled the Keon Ellis situation. But so he will be facing against Keon. He will be facing against DeMar, who he had for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
But no Domas tonight, still out, but getting closer to a return. And we were going to talk about Domas a little bit more because you brought up a great point at the end of the last segment about, like, do the Kings really want to move on from Domantas Sabonis? We'll get to that in a second, but the one and only TC is on the line, and everyone knows TC runs the show. TC wants to talk about Mike Brown. TC, what up, my man?
Hey, man, what's up with y'all, too? Kayla, Matt.
Good to see you, TC. What's going on?
So what I got on Mike is, me personally respected Mike, right? We all respected Mike. Some of us, but we moved on. Mike, respect. I hope he gets a standing ovation that he deserves, bringing the team, this B team, bringing us back from poverty, bro, where we was at. We respect Mike for that. I listened to his interview yesterday. You could tell Mike is still hurt behind that. He said, man, we would have won 50 games. If I take anything back, I wish we didn't have injuries. He didn't come out talking about, Vivek, y'all fired me or none of that. I respect his approach, bro. So tonight, y'all stand up, give Mike his respect, and then let us go ahead and beat the Knicks, bro. That's all I got. Other than that, I'm not going to get on here and talk about Mike or none of that. Everybody got their feelings behind Mike, including me. But I also respect Mike, how he came in and turned this team around, bro.
Yeah, it's all respect. Thank for the call, TC. Definitely a respect for Mike Brown factor. He did say at the end, like, we moved on, though. Don't speak for everybody, because one, I haven't moved on emotionally.
Matt has not moved on, okay?
Because I'm a child.
That's okay.
And two, moved on to what? Mediocrity? And it's a lot of people are going to interpret that as a shot at Doug Christie. It's really not intended to be, because I think Doug Christie was put in an impossible situation, because Doug Christie is still dealing with the reason Mike Brown was fired, which is this roster is terrible. And if anything, at least Mike Brown had De'Aaron Fox here.
Yeah.
Doug Christie had to deal with picking up the pieces after that horrible trade that sent Fox. Now, Fox, of course, wanted out. And as much as y'all want to blame De'Aaron Fox for that, you can if it makes you feel better. But the context behind it, there's a reason why Fox asked out. And Vivek still forced his way to get Zach LaVine. And it didn't work out. And Doug has had to go through that and pick up the pieces. Plus, it's not an excuse that much, because I don't think the Kings would have been a good team if they're completely healthy, but Doug has literally never had his starting lineup this year. So it doesn't, when we're praising Mike Brown, it doesn't have to be an anti-Doug Christie thing. I do think Mike Brown is a way better coach than Doug Christie, but Mike has all this experience to prove it, and Doug has been put in a very difficult Sacramento Kings situation.
It always makes me think of, like, you're a brand new quarterback, and you're going probably to one of the lesser organizations in terms of stability at the time. And there's not a lot of pieces around you to instantly help you succeed at your job. And, that is explaining kind of what Doug Christie's been dipped into here. And yes, he took the job. Absolutely, he took the job. He knew what he was doing. That's the difference. A lot of these quarterbacks, they don't have a choice of where they're going. But it's hard to ever turn down an opportunity to be a head coach. But it is very new to him as well. And him being a former player, you have all of those things and the insights, but being a head coach is different. And there are a lot of things to manage, especially when you come to some place like this where there's a lot that's not cohesive right now.
Yeah.
So it is hard. You're caught kind of like a rock in a hard place if you are a fan. Like, you want to give him a chance, but you're also like, well, I mean, look what this year's been. So
we were talking in the last segment about the Kings looking to move on from some of their veterans, and Domantas Sabonis is definitely in the veteran category, and Sabonis is, to put it bluntly, is one of the worst contracts in the NBA in terms of just how much he's being paid for overall production. And we know the struggles that he's had in the playoffs when he's gotten there, and he's not like a go-to offensive option. You're paying him almost $50 million a year. But you said at the end of the segment, and I think you're absolutely right, that you're not so sure that the Kings are like as eager to move on from Domas as they are a Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan to be, or for example. Why do you feel that way?
Yeah, I think first of all, you mentioned the money, and that always is a part of it in the NBA. I don't think even if they really wanted to, I don't know right now how much real interest is out there in taking that contract, right? So first and foremost, business talks and business matters. Second of all, I know that Domas has been injured here this year, so it's been hard to see like what he is right now, except for maybe pegging him as the injured guy on the team, and he's not getting any younger. However, I think there's always, in terms of management and upper management, you know who Domas is before this, and he's been a really good player for you. And I think it's hard in a season like this with all the stuff that's going on with his injuries, but also just the team, to give completely up on a guy like that right now when you maybe could utilize him in a different way if you're resetting a team. Not saying that's going to work necessarily. I also think his value right now is just not high.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay? Where's the value right now? They've got to at least probably put him back in the lineup, even if they did want to trade him, to increase his value.
Yeah.
So there's a few little things in terms of just the outsider looking in, and I know you'll probably dig in a little deeper on your reasoning because you'd agree with me.
Yeah, well,
they probably don't want to get rid of him right away.
I do. And it's for a couple reasons. From the Domantas Sabonis perspective, it's hard to not look at this season as just a wasted year.
Yeah.
With the injuries that he's dealt with and how bad the team is. Now, he's partially responsible for a reason why the team is this bad. You're not completely blameless. But for the Sacramento Kings, it can't be a wasted year. And how they avoid it being a wasted year is getting this trade deadline right, getting some of these veterans out of here, and giving young guys opportunities, more opportunities than they're already getting. And if there's anything that's been a benefit, not that we ever are happy to see anyone injured, but if there's any benefit to Domas being out as long as he's been out, is it's given Maxime Reynaud and Dylan Cardwell some opportunity that maybe they wouldn't have gotten, and it would have delayed their development a little bit. But to me, there's no comparison between Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis in terms of the eagerness to get rid of those two. Like I think the Sacramento Kings will move on from Zach LaVine for whatever they can get.
Yeah.
And that's not to disrespect LaVine as a player. I think LaVine clearly does not want to be here. We found out that LaVine tried to get his way to Atlanta during the offseason. I don't necessarily blame him, but LaVine is an unbelievably talented offensive player that really doesn't show up all the time because he doesn't look too interested in doing it. And look, human element, I know when things aren't going great at my job at times, or I don't feel that the job is super invested in me, it's easy to not want to give 100%. So I'm not fully blaming Zach
You're
LaVine.
also not making, Matt.
A bazillion
I'm
dollars.
sorry.
Yeah.
You're not making, I'm not making, Kyle's not making a bazillion dollars.
Yeah, almost $50 million a year. In the case of Zach LaVine, I genuinely think like if the Kings could send Zach LaVine to Milwaukee or whoever and get contracts that aren't the best but are expiring sooner, they would do that in a heartbeat, which is why maybe there's something to like the Kings have been connected to Kyle Kuzma forever.
I know, right?
And I don't think Kyle Kuzma is a very good basketball player.
Is that a Vivek thing?
Kinda.
But him and Kuzma are investors in a professional volleyball league, and that's kind of been the only connection.
They very much know of each other, and then Kuzma's just been that perpetual floated guy out there that's at a position of need for the Kings.
Okay.
That they're always like, maybe, and he had a chance actually to sign with the Kings a couple of years ago, chose to take I think it was more money to stay with the Washington Wizards and just put up points on a terrible team over there.
He also got traded to the Kings originally, and then the Lakers backed out of the deal and got Russell Westbrook.
That is true.
I think it was going to be Buddy Hield going to the Lakers.
That was one of Monty's first moves that never happened. Yep.
Yeah, the deal was done. I remember I was going on a plane and Kuzma was a King, and then I got off the plane and Westbrook was a Laker and Kuzma was a Wizard.
Crazy times indeed. But like if you take Kuzma and then Bobby Portis is rumoredly part of this deal. I love Bobby Portis. If you could bring Bobby Portis in, big fan of that. Does Bobby Portis change much for you? No, but he's a hustle player and I like him. I don't know if Bobby Portis would want to come here though. Right. That being said, like if you can turn Zach LaVine into kind of dead money contracts that get off your books sooner and you can just kind of reset and move on, even if it's terrible optics because that's who you traded De'Aaron Fox for. Scott Perry didn't, so his hands are clean in that. But Domantas Sabonis is different because Sabonis does have value. Sabonis is in the prime of his career, and he's got 2 years left after this year on $47.4 million and $48.6 million. I think it's a fair question to ask, like, if you're starting a rebuild, what does having Domantas Sabonis here do for you? I don't know if it's so much he's like a great piece to have during the rebuild as much as it is, like you talked about, his value is extremely low right now, and the closer you get to the end of the contract, even if the price is going up, the easier it is to move the contract because there's less commitment. Yeah. So I feel like it would absolutely make more sense to try and trade Domas next trade deadline or beyond that, where the value is probably higher there for a team that's like, we'll take a 1-year rental or 2-year rental on Domas because we think he can help us win a title right now.
Makes more sense. I'm just still stuck on I don't know why DeMar doesn't have more interest. I'm really stuck on it. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I do not. And maybe there is more. Maybe we ought to just wait a little longer. I don't know. But to not hear one thing really that's detailed about a team being interested in DeMar DeRozan, he can help teams.
Yes.
Right now. He can help teams in the playoffs.
He's a mercenary.
I know. And he's got the right attitude. Like, the guy's a workhorse.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, he's a mercenary who you can bring in off your bench in any kind of limited role. And the case that I made for why teams, contenders, should be interested in DeMar DeRozan, Kayla, is his scoring numbers are down this year.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
But so is his volume.
Yes.
But his efficiency across the board is up. What is he proving? He's not the number one guy anymore. And you're never trading for him if he's the number one guy. But he's showing that he doesn't need as many shots to be this efficient, which to me would be perfect for a contender that says, I'll bring DeMar DeRozan off my bench and give him 25 minutes a night.
That was my thought too. And guess what? Injuries always happen.
Yes. And he's a vet, and he knows what it takes to. I know you can talk about his time in the Raptors and couldn't get the job done in Toronto, but he's a veteran. And the other part of this, too, if it's the money that scares you, he's got 1 year left on his deal at $25.7 million, but that money is not fully guaranteed. Only, I think, $10 million is guaranteed. $12 million would have been guaranteed if he made the All-Star team. He's not making the All-Star team.
Right.
So $10 million of that is guaranteed. So it's not that massive of an investment. Go out and get him right now. I think a team should, and hopefully a team will.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Time will tell. We didn't get to talk baseball, and we're going to do it.
We got time.
We're going to do it.
We got an hour.
We still got an hour left. We're going to talk baseball, but coming up next, Dave Deuce Mason, you might have heard of him, Kings pre and post, used to host this very, not show, but time slot. Mm-hmm. We'll talk to Deuce, and then we're going to talk baseball. We also, Kayla, we're going to start this conversation today, really get into it tomorrow. Seattle and the Seahawks gatekeeping ticket sales to 49er fans. Fair, not fair. That's all still coming in the final hour here on Sactown Sports.
2 new voices join the Midday. Matt George and Kayla Anderson.
Weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Watch online at SactownSports.com, on the app, or in your car.
Listen to the latest on the Sacramento Kings, the San Francisco 49ers, and all breaking news.
Northern California is covered.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The best in the middays during your weekdays are on your local sports leader. Sactown Sports 1140.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
When value matters, Elk Grove Chevrolet delivers. Right now, purchase a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado for $4,500 off. The Silverado 1500 stands out with legendary towing power, a bold new design, and the dependability you expect from Chevy. Visit myelkgrovechevrolet.com for full details. Don't miss your chance to drive the new Chevrolet Silverado. Stop by Elk Grove Chevrolet today and experience quality that goes the distance.
Come check out Capital Casino, Sacramento's #1 poker room with the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Plenty of well-lit parking available, conveniently located in downtown Sacramento. And remember, Capital Casino has the best food, the best service, and the best action. 411 North 16th Street in downtown Sacramento. For more information, log on to capital-casino.com, and please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
KHD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD3 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sactown Sports 1140.
Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, in ye old days of Sactown Sports, wasn't that long ago, but it's fun to say, there was a show during this time slot called the Deuce and Mo Show. I think that's what they call it, or do they just call it Deuce and Mo? It's very similar to the Deuce and Mo podcast. It's Dave Deuce Mason and Morgan Reagan. And, well, we got the worst of the two to join us here on Sactown Sports today. Reached out to Mo. She just left us on red.
Mo said no.
And Deuce, Mo said no.
Mo said no.
Deuce is just like, Deuce never gets any opportunities and like is just desperate for anybody to give him any time. So we settled. We're like, fine, we'll take Deuce. We'll take Dave Deuce Mason. He's joining us here on Sactown Sports here in just a little bit. He'll hopefully we've sent him the link. Classic Deuce though, like big time Deuce. He's got to make sure he's late to the party. Like right, he has got to walk in with his sunglasses on.
He's got to have the
indoors.
walk-in music too.
Yeah. In all seriousness, I'll say this before he gets on because I can deny it. Deuce is one of the most talented people in this city, and being able to learn from him, because when I was an intern when I first started, he was on with Morgan. Morgan was doing what Kyle was doing, and he was on with Jason Ross in the midday slot. So I've been able to learn a lot from him over the years. Now he's doing incredible stuff with Morgan on Kings pre and post game live, which you can watch before you then switch over to the radio so you can hear the G-Man, Gary Gerald, broadcast Kings games, because we all know everybody likes to listen to G-Man, and that's what you got to do is you got to listen to Sactown Sports for Kings games.
Yep.
But you can watch pre and post and even halftime with Deuce and Mo. So we're very excited to speak to Deuce when he comes on. And then Kayla, we're finally going to get to some baseball because
we promised it.
You said you have in your bio that baseball is your first love.
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten to talk about it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I know summer's coming around, but we got a couple baseball stories to get into. So I'm very excited to talk to you about a Sacramento A's story.
Right.
And a story about what they're doing, some renovations or some changes being made at Kauffman Stadium
to help out the
Kansas
hitters.
City. So, hey, man, baseball's a home run or nothing sport, it seems like. And we had some really, really good pitching last season. So maybe this will help some things over there in Kansas City. So we'll have a lot of baseball to speak as well. Come on, Deuce. I'm trying to stall for you, bud, and you're just taking your time.
This is a long stall, man.
This is unbelievable.
You did say 105.
Actually, you know what? It's on me. It's on me.
So 105.
I did say 105.
We'll give him a little time.
Deuce is very punctual. Very, very punctual.
After you just said 30 seconds ago, he's always late.
Well, look, I'm all over the place. Okay. This morning, Carmichael Dave shared a bit of reporting on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, talking about the rumored interest in Ja Morant.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. Do you have that audio? You have Shams, right? Audio of Shams talking about the Kings' quote-unquote interest in Ja, if you don't mind.
Blake, this is potentially the beginning of Ja Morant's exit in Memphis. And from my understanding, Miami, Sacramento, multiple other teams have a level of interest and are pursuing Ja Morant. Rival executives have told me that the Grizzlies are seeking young players and draft picks in any potential deal that involves Ja Morant. He's under contract, though, through 2028. So there's significant team control here that the Grizzlies still do have. So unlike Trae Young, who had a player option for next year, there's not that level of urgency. But clearly, could both sides be better off with a fresh start for teams like Miami or Sacramento or other interested teams around the league, for them to get potentially a tantalizing player like Ja Morant? We know about the injuries. We know about the off-court issues. But it was pretty interesting news for several teams on Friday that the Grizzlies, for the first time since Ja Morant was drafted number 2 overall in 2019, they are open and entertaining offers to move him.
So that was Shams talking about the interest in Ja Morant. Mentioned the Kings in there. Carmichael Dave this morning on the airwaves shared his report that from the conversations that he's had, that there is really not much interest at all from the Sacramento side of things. He seems to believe, and it makes perfect sense, that maybe some camps, some agents are using the Kings and using this reported interest as leverage to try and get Ja where he wants to go. And that might, it sounds like, includes Miami, which is shocking. NBA star wants to go play in Miami over Sacramento. Never thought about that. But you know who loves Sacramento more than Miami, I think, is Dave Deuce Mason. Deuce, you wouldn't leave us for Miami, right? Like you'd choose the beautiful beaches of Sacramento at like Sunsplash over the Miami beaches, right?
First of all, never been to Miami.
Oh, it's a great city. Oh, y'all are missing out a little.
A couple things. Before I hop all over that one, I do want to say congratulations on the new show.
Oh, thanks.
And
thanks, dude.
I do feel bad you have to work with Matt every day. But
I know, but he's got to work with me.
Well, welcome to Sacramento. I know you've been in Sacramento for some time, but seriously, congratulations to you, because I know you've been grinding behind the scenes with all those fill-in shows, so much uncertainty, and now here you are doing a show every day. So congratulations.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And then they told her she had to work with me, and it was like, oh
no.
I mean, that would have been a deal breaker for me. I'd be like, no, I'm out. But that's fine. You're going to handle it the best way you can. As far as Miami, I've never been there. I don't have a desire. What do you do in Miami? You stay up till like 4 or 5 a.m.?
No, not necessarily. I'm too old for that. But when I lived in the South and I could go somewhere warm, the best part of Miami is like you just feel calm because you just can make your own time up of what you want to do. So you can go lay by the beach. If you want to party, that's fine. I'm not saying I didn't do it in a night or two, but the drinks are just way better. The food is really good, but it's just kind of got that vibe that you can just be you. You can do whatever, wear whatever you want, and people will leave you alone.
Deuce, aren't you going to Vegas all the time, though? Like, you're there for Summer League? Sure, bud. You're out there, and basketball might be happening.
First of all, I watch a ton of basketball at Summer League.
He's a basketball
I hate
sicko.
everything about Vegas. I don't gamble. I don't like the heat. I don't really like spending a lot of money on drinks. Like, it's $20 for a beer. I go for basketball and I hang out with people. But I do like that aspect. There's just so many people there and you hang out.
Oh, I'm Deuce. I have friends. I hang out with people. Cool, bud. Must be nice. I have to force Kayla to hang out with me now for 4 hours.
I was going to say, have we ever hung out in Vegas, Matt?
No, you don't invite me. We actually, when we went to Vegas and Brendan Nunez, Chris Watkins, and I and Frankie went out to dinner and we texted you and you were like at a party with people from The Ringer or something and you completely blew us off. And then the one time during the playoffs, the one time I did go out with Deuce and Mo, we went to a bar during the NBA playoffs. And I ordered a Mai Tai because I like them and I got dragged for
Mai
it.
Tais too.
Thank you, Kayla.
Let's go.
I got dragged for getting a Mai Tai at like 4 p.m.
First of all, nothing wrong with a Mai Tai. It was just an interesting drink choice in the middle of the afternoon.
I was being judged.
You know what I mean? Like Mai Tai, it's like you're at a tiki ball or you're in Hawaii, somewhere tropical. This guy's like, I'm in San Francisco. Let me get a Mai Tai.
Listen. The Kings had just lost Game 3. I was in mourning. All right. The way Game 3 ended. So give me a break. All right. Well, Deuce, you know who was on the sidelines during Game 3 for the Sacramento Kings was Mike Brown as the head coach. Now he returns to Sacramento with the New York Knicks. I'm sure you and Mo are going to talk about this a ton during Kings pre and post game, so I won't ask you to spoil too much. But in terms of just draw, extra interest level, what you're expecting from Mike Brown's return to Sacramento, like what are you looking for, keeping an eye out for in the Golden One Center tonight?
I mean, I don't know about extra draw. I think Mike Brown accomplished some great things with Sacramento. And this guy's got a track record of winning in the NBA. And out of all the stops he's had, Cleveland a couple of times, LA, and then Sacramento, now New York, Sacramento's probably the most impressive job he's done because of the fact that he came to a situation that had constant losing, no playoff appearances, just no organization. And he brought some respectability back to the team. And they had a tremendous, 2.5 years together. That 48-win season was magical. Even the next year, I know they didn't accomplish what they wanted to, but you start thinking about if Monk doesn't go down, Herter was banged up that year. He had some misfortune along the way. I thought he did a great job here. I thought he was great to the fans. Media people loved him. He's just a great dude. And tonight he'll get a huge ovation because of it.
Deuce Mason, kind enough to take some time out. I always love your podcast setup, by the way. It's so cool looking.
He's got the whole spread.
We were talking about, we like being in the dark, Deuce.
Yep.
Matt and I, we like either candles or, really, low-lit rooms. I guess we're weird, but that's what it always reminds me, like a little cave.
They got a fog machine, too.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it when I've watched.
The Deuce and Mo podcast got a budget.
Yeah, we like it dark in here. We like it dark. The fog doesn't go off very often this year because they don't win often. But, yeah, I mean... We like the vibes in here. You have to make it feel comfortable.
That's what I was going to say. So I want to give you a little shout out.
Thank you.
He's got a sign behind him, too, that is given to him by the one and only legendary sign lady here in Sacramento. That's probably the most expensive, important thing that he owns.
Okay.
Cool.
I was wondering about that.
I got to be honest. I can't really take much credit at all for this find. Morgan put this together.
Yeah, of course she did.
I go, hey, Morgan, we should do something with the background. What about if we put all this stuff? And then she works her magic.
She went to town.
Shocking. The only things good around Deuce are what Morgan does.
Exactly. Shocking, right? Deuce Mason, like I said, and you can check out his great work on NBC Bay Area because it's fun to watch you guys in the pre and post game shows as well. So when it comes to this team right now and the moment that we're living in, it's exciting because they've won back-to-back games against good teams, but are we kind of now get out of that mode because this is focused on the future? Mm-hmm. Or how does this, how do you see this playing out organically? Because it's you want to see a team win, but you also want a high lottery pick.
Yeah, it's always a delicate balance because you're right, especially with this draft coming up, there's a tremendous amount of talent at the top. And for Sacramento, a small market, you want to get lucky sometimes. You want to get that high draft pick, nail the draft pick, and then have a good run where you have a franchise cornerstone because the Kings don't have that. Yeah. Even if you like some of their young guys right now, if you like Keegan and Keon, Max, Dylan, Neek, I don't think anyone would look at those guys and go, hey, that's a superstar of the future. They could be pieces to a team that could win, but there's still a lot to learn there. I don't really trip too much about winning and losing when it comes to it being January. I think after the deadline, that's where you start really having to tweak some things. We'll see what they do. I think that's a big thing. How many of these guys do you end up moving at the deadline? And on top of that, post-deadline, teams are going to be positioning themselves to lose some games. Yeah. And they'll position it hey, it's, we're trying to give young guys opportunity. This guy's banged up, but we know how this works. I bet you the Utah Jazz will get to a point, and they've been competitive. They've had some great moments with Keontae George. Markkanen will be sitting through stretches.
Knee soreness.
They understand the value of it, but it's also just it's a weird line because if you look at how the lottery has gone in recent years since they flattened out the odds, it's not the team with the worst record getting the number one pick. Dallas last year played the Kings in the play-in game and got the number one pick. So part of it for me is just you know what? Just let it play out. The Kings are not a good basketball team. They're going to lose plenty of games coming up. They're probably going to make some trades. They're probably not going to be very good, and they're going to have a good chance to move up in the lottery.
Deuce, I've rolled my eyes a few times over the last few months of Doug talking about the offense is fine, and we know how defensive-focused Doug is. But then you're coming off of that performance against the Lakers where everybody was hitting shots. The Kings shot, 65% from three-point range in that game. And funny enough, my takeaway from that game was defensively. The fourth quarter, how they held both Luka and LeBron to 2 points each when those two were the only reason why the Lakers were in that game, forced Marcus Smart to beat him, and Marcus Smart went just AWOL with some of the plays that he made there towards the end. And then even in the game before, some of the defense that they played against the Houston Rockets who for some reason can't figure out a way to beat the Kings. It just seems like defensively they're figuring some things out. Rotation seems sharper. And I'm wondering how much of a factor it is having rim protection and guys who are good at fouling without giving you a good look at the rim like Dylan Cardwell and even Maxime Reynaud to some extent down low.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do think it's gone better. And I do think having Cardwell out there who's just, he's just a big body. He's not scared to mix it up. He's going to play physical. very good at being vertical at the rim, could block some shots. Max has a big presence down there too. It's definitely helpful. I do think the Lakers miss so many good looks.
Yes. Yes.
And then you saw last night, they just run away with it. They knock down their looks. And sometimes you don't want to make it that simple to make or miss league. But that game against the Lakers, the Kings made everything.
Yes.
And the Lakers missed a lot. And Houston, they don't have a point guard. And I think that's like a big weakness for them. And you see it. They just don't get organized the right way. With that said, yeah, I do think the Kings look a little more connected at times defensively. And part of that is, look, you're starting to see someone like Neat Clifford get some more minutes, right, out there. You're seeing Cardwell and the young guys get some more minutes. And these guys are just athletic. It's a little more switchable out there, even when Keon gets those opportunities. And it may cover up some of the weaknesses of guys who aren't known for being good defensive players. Like, I don't feel like we've been talking about DeMar DeRozan's defense a lot this year. Because sometimes he's in that second unit with a whole bunch of young guys who are long, they're athletic, and they play physical, and it can cover up some of those weaknesses. Going back to what you're saying, though, I was really impressed with the offense because they were doing something last game that they just don't do like ever, and that's pass the ball more than once offensively.
Yes.
Okay? Like, DeMar DeRozan's been playing some great basketball this year. People want to, pile on him because I think he represents like the Kings going bad. Like when he was here, everything went down. It's not the reason. You watched last game. This guy's pushing up in transition, sucking in the defense, drawing the double team, kicking out. But instead of just taking that first shot, what do you know? Move that ball one more time. And the Kings got good looks out of it. Also helps to be playing one of your better 3-point shooters, Malik Monk.
Yep.
Yeah, that never is a bad thing when you're hitting the threes, but it is nice to see more ball movement. It's definitely more fun to watch when that is happening. Deuce Mason joining us right now on the Matt and Kayla Show. I know, Matt, you mentioned Dylan Cardwell, and he's kind of been like the guy of the week, right?
Really?
I mean, there's been a lot of attention on him, and rightfully so. He's done a lot of good things, but no one can deny like that fresh energy, spirit animal energy, whatever you want to call it right now, that he's giving a team and fans especially that's kind of going through a dark time. What have you really liked about Dylan in the last just few weeks?
Well, I think it's always challenging to figure out what's real and what's not when there's a bad team.
Yep.
And I think on one hand, people look at Dylan and go, yeah, but this is an awful team and he's doing some fun things, whatever. I think his energy is fantastic. I think sometimes you got to remind yourself, like, this is a child's game. You got to have fun out there. He has fun out there. I go, oh, this guy wants to be out there. And that's good energy for a team that's not playing good basketball overall this season. But genuinely, I think he could be a rotational big in this league. And there's things he has to get better at. And he has a little bit, but finishing around the basket. I mean, about a month ago, even in Stockton, I call the Stockton Kings games too, seeing him in Stockton. When he got the ball, it looked like he didn't know what he was holding, right? Like he was not comfortable with the rock at all. And you're just seeing the growth. He's becoming more comfortable. He needs to get more comfortable finishing around the basket. But what he's able to do defensively, to have a guy his size that not only plays physical, but can switch out in the perimeter and is not afraid to take on the tough matchup, moves his feet well. He's very disciplined when it comes to being out in the perimeter. The biggest thing for him, I think, going forward is making sure not to be reckless out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he can be physical, but what you're noticing is every game he's playing like 12 minutes and he's got 4 or 5 fouls.
Yeah.
So, you got to defend without fouling, but part of that is like you want his edge out there. And for so long, the Kings haven't had that edge, especially at the big spot. I think he could be something. He's got to clean some things up, but I mean, if he starts finishing better around the rim, I think he's got a shot to be a rotational big.
Deuce, we'll wrap up with this. We've also seen the familiar reemergence or resurgence of Malik Monk in a very familiar role to what he's been playing and been at his best under Mike Brown here in Sacramento over the last handful of years, which is not exactly a backup point guard, but really the secondary ball handler that comes in and he can play alongside Russ with Dennis Schroeder being out because of his suspension. When Russ is off the floor, Malik is taking on a lot of those responsibilities, sharing them a bit at times with DeMar DeRozan and even Neat Clifford. But it just is Malik Monk looks like himself again. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's playing this well and the Sacramento Kings are winning basketball games. What are you seeing from what he's doing over these last couple of games? And I know Malik is a name that's going to be floated and talked about a lot on the trade block from now until the trade deadline. But I guess, what do you just make of the energy that we're seeing in the reemergence of Malik Monk?
It's what he does. I mean, this is someone who did this on a winning team.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like, oh, he's just coming in and chucking and doing his thing. Like, this is what he does. And you got to live with some of the mistakes out there. But more times than not, he's bringing juice to a game, coming off the bench. And for a team that doesn't take enough threes, doesn't make threes consistently, to have one of your better three-point shooters out there, his ability to put pressure on the defense, him in the pick and roll, which we just don't see enough. We saw it a little bit last game with Maxime Reynaud. He's a very productive player.
Yep.
And unfortunately, you know, I said this at the time when they were first talking about adding Schroeder and Westbrook. I was like, adding both, I don't know about that, because it was going to impact people on this team, on a guard-heavy team. It was going to impact Devin Carter, and it was going to impact one of Keon Ellis and Malik Monk. And we've seen it. It's impacted literally everyone. And it's nothing against Dennis Schroeder or Westbrook. But Malik Monk, I think, doesn't get the credit he deserves for how talented of a player he is and what he brings from an energy perspective. So I'm not surprised at all. If I was another team and I needed a spark, there's so many teams that could use a scoring guard that can create and take some pressure off their best player. I'd be looking at him.
Deuce, go take a shower, get all dressed up for TV. I'm not about that life anymore.
Quit being a bum, Deuce.
Yeah, I'm not about that life anymore. I can wear what I want, but you have to look all spiffy for TV tonight.
And just to be clear, I know you can wear whatever you want because you were wearing like some sweatsuit.
I was looking good.
He
Nike,
was, yeah.
Nike head to toe,
sweatshirt.
Nike full sweatsuit. Come on now.
I mean, I would wear that, but like I could pull it off. He was just like awkward looking. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't fit you.
That's his way of saying I'm not athletic. That's what he's saying. Well, I'm Deuce and I have muscles, kinda. Great, good for you, bud.
Oh man, Deuce. One thing I'll say real quick. I don't miss having to go buy stuff to look good on TV. I just throw on whatever. I don't even know what I'm wearing. Sweatshirt and a leather jacket. I don't even have to do my hair, Deuce. It's very nice.
Well, you know what? I don't miss radio, so there.
There you go. Perfect.
You talk 4 hours every day.
Yeah, and we took the spot from you, and we're doing it kind of good, like maybe as good as you guys did. I don't know. Deuce, thank you so much for taking.
No, seriously, in all seriousness, congratulations. And kill it. Just have fun. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
This is sports. Laugh. Enjoy it.
Amen.
Don't take yourself too serious. Have fun.
We are having fun, and we always have fun when Deuce joins us. It will not be the last time. Next time we'll get Mo, though. We'll get Mo next time. Appreciate you, Deuce. See you at the game tonight.
All right, we'll see you.
See ya.
That's the amazing Deuce Mason. Check him out on pre- and post-game live on NBC for the Sacramento Kings tonight, ahead of Kings and Knicks with Mike Brown's return. Of course, you can catch him on the Deuce and Mo podcast. They've built an amazing community over there. They go live after every single game.
It's wild.
For the basketball
you do
sickos.
it kind of too sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to live up to the example that they set because they are. I mean, they're the goats in the Sacramento sports podcasting industry, in my opinion. I'm just trying to keep up, but. We had to make sure to save a little bit of time. It's not a ton of time, Kayla, but we got to sneak a little bit of baseball in.
Yeah.
What do you make of the Royals moving their outfield in 10 feet? Obviously to help home run hitters.
And because I had some of the numbers too, because I was interested. I'm not going to get all like mathematical on you because I suck at math. By the way, that's something you will find out about me. I loved when Steve Wyche said earlier, I went into this business, kind of joking, but he said because I hate math.
Well, we got scoreboards to do it for us.
I know, so I don't even have to do the math. What I think
that's my curse. I love math, but I'm in this world.
And that's why you were on the show too, because you bring a different element, you know?
Well, this will come up at some point, but I'm literally like a human calculator.
I know you are, and I wish I had you in those chemistry classes and stuff. Kyle in my backpack to give me the answers, you know.
You've heard of Elf on the Shelf. Now here's Kyle in a backpack.
Kyle in a backpack.
The calculator. I don't know.
Kyle in the backpack to give you all the answers. So Kauffman is one of those interesting, that's an old stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've driven past it. I've never been in it because I've been to Arrowhead, not Kauffman.
Yeah.
But it's huge. And I think they've really based a lot of teams in terms of the Royals around defense and good pitching because of what they have.
Sure.
With
user advantage.
It's a user advantage. And it's not to say that you can't hit in that park.
Mm-hmm.
It's shaped that you can get balls into the outfield, but they're not home runs.
Right.
And we all have seen what baseball at least is bringing people back is the home run ball because people get excited about it. So I think after kind of really like looking into it, they just decided it's going to benefit us. We're not going to hurt our pitchers, but we're going to help our hitters a little. And so I think being able to bring that in the wall a little bit will help them at least be able to hit some home run balls more so often than they were.
I mean, we saw the Giants do this at Oracle Park, right?
Yeah.
Triples Alley still exists, but it's not as bad as it was, and putting the bullpens out there just to add a little more space. And we've seen it pay off a little bit.
Yep.
That's still a very difficult ballpark to hit home runs in, mainly because of the breeze that's right off the bay that beautiful ballpark is built off of. But, I mean, you'll get to experience it this summer, Kayla,
I know, I'm
at Sutter
so
Health
excited.
Park. Sutter Health Park is like you blink and there's another homer.
There's a homer?
Like it is. Pitchers are miserable in that park.
I bet they are.
One, they don't like the groundskeepers did a pretty amazing job there making that as MLB standard as they could.
Work.
But they did not like the mound very much there at all. So I know they're trying to work on these and make improvements, but the ball jumps out of that ballpark. Nick Kurtz hitting bombs like off the scoreboard, sometimes over the scoreboard. We had Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a home run clear out of the ballpark, like over the new clubhouse they built in left field. But that's what people sign up for, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to see is that pop. So I don't blame the Royals for doing this at all. When we come back, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. The Seattle Seahawks are doing everything they can to make sure 49ers fans can't get tickets to this game on Saturday.
I'm going to hear it in this segment.
And I don't really blame them. We'll talk about it on Sactown Sports.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to start strong, so you can give everything you've got. From plate-loaded strength equipment and functional training areas to treadmills, stair climbers, and free weights. Our equipment is best in class, and our clubs are right around the corner, so you can go all in. Join Planet Fitness today for $1 down, $15 a month. Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet.
Deal extended through January 16th. Don't miss it.
See Club for details.
There are many reasons to choose Gonzalez Law Offices as a dedicated trial lawyer with an undefeated record from 2016 through 2019, and you'll know that no case is too big or too small. Due to his success, hard work, and commitment to excellence, attorney Jonathan Gonzalez has been listed in Super Lawyers Rising Stars, as well as in the top 40 under 40 list by national trial lawyers. You can find Gonzalez Law Office online at saclegaldefense.com or call him at 916-304-9187.
Hagen Oaks knows you can buy a driver off the shelf anywhere, but Hagen Oaks is the only place where you'll find total game fitting. The Hagen Oaks TrackMan-powered player performance studio fits clubs to your swing. Ping's Ballnamic Ball Fitter finds your optimum golf ball. The putter fitting studio makes you a better putter, and FootJoy's 3D foot scanner finds your correct fit. In fact, Hagen Oaks will fit you from head to toe with equipment and apparel to make you the player you want to be. It's total game fitting, and it's only at the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway.
Hey, this is Greg Papa. Are you working through a major insurance claim? SunPoint Public Adjusters can help. SunPoint prepares, presents, and negotiates your claim with the insurance company, working only for you, making sure you get everything you're entitled to, not what just some adjuster working for an insurance company thinks you should get. Call SunPoint today at 888-247-7865 or contact us at sunpoint.us. SunPoint Public Adjusters, the gold standard in public adjusting.
License number 2N14884.
The Travel Guys, new on KHTK 1140 every Saturday at 11 a.m.
We'll make you a smarter traveler. Tips you can use on the road and at the airport, plus reports from top consumer advocates.
The Travel Guys, 11 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140.
Celebrate the new year in style with a new Honda from Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. With new Hondas in stock and ready to go, now is the time to save on your favorite Honda in person or online. CR-V, HR-V, Pilot, Accord, Civic, and Ridgeline. It's a new year with endless possibilities. Get the deals that make it easy to say yes. Upgrade and save today at Stockton Honda.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Guys, if your energy is low, your strength isn't what it used to be, or your drive feels off, it's not just getting older. For many men, it's low testosterone. At Revive Men's Health Sacramento, you can start with a free T-check, exam, and consultation so you get real answers about your testosterone levels and overall health. And this month only, qualified patients may receive 25% off testosterone replacement therapy. This isn't guesswork or one-size-fits-all treatment. Revive specializes in personalized, closely monitored testosterone care designed to help men feel stronger, sharper, and more like themselves again. With over 120,000 patients treated since 2011, Revive Men's Health is trusted for results, not hype. If you've been putting this off, now is the time to act. Claim your free T-check and consultation and see if you qualify for 25% off TRT. This month only. Call 916-619-3000. That's 916-619-3000. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com. Terms apply, must medically qualify.
At Big O Tires, now through January 25th, get $80 to $120 instant savings on 4 select in-stock tires with installation purchase. Disposal fees extra, not good with other offers. See your locally owned Big O Tire store for pricing and book an appointment online today.
At InShape, there's a place for every kind of mover. The Sometimer, the early riser, after-work grinder, the yogi, lifter, walker, runner, sauna seeker, recoverer. If you walk, lift, stretch, or sweat, you belong. Start the year strong and join today at InShape.com.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Matt and Kayla on Sactown Sports 1140.
It's not your turn yet, Whitey Gleason.
I love how he comes in and says hi, though.
He's the best. He's the best, dude.
I'm so blessed I got to
great.
work with them.
I know.
Him and Jay for a while.
Again,
They're
you and I both thought we were having the opportunity to work with him. And then we're like, oh, curveball, neither of you are. You're working together. And I was like,
And
oh,
you don't
and Kayla
know
was
each
like,
other.
oh.
No, because I had watched, again, when I get to a market, the first thing I do is I dive deep into the media here.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here, one of the first things I did is obviously I listen to the station every day, almost every show.
Uh-huh.
And I watch your podcast.
Sorry.
So I already knew who you were, but I don't, that's different from like knowing someone really and working with them.
Yeah. Everything Deuce said, though, is true, by the way.
Oh,
like, Deuce was like
of course.
warning you. Like, everything
of
he
course.
said was true.
I completely trust Deuce, you know?
If you missed our conversation with Dave Deuce Mason, he just joined us in the last segment. He was wonderful previewing tonight's game. We also, earlier on the show, had NFL Network chief national reporter Steve Wyche on, and that was a real treat.
He's awesome.
He took us around the NFL and talked to us, of course, about the Seattle Seahawks 49ers game, but all these big playoff games around. But he's going to be at the Seattle Seahawks and 49ers game because he knows that's the best game of the weekend. Come on. And I wonder how much red he's going to see, Kayla.
Geez.
You are a Seahawks fan,
Mm-hmm.
and you have pointed out that recently Niners fans have traveled really well up in Seattle and taken over that stadium. Well, to no surprise, there are reports and stuff coming out that the Seahawks are encouraging as much as they can their season ticket holders and doing everything they can to make sure that there are limited amounts of 49er fans at the stadium this weekend. And look, some are going to show up. Some are going to manage to make their way in because 49ers, the faithful are everywhere.
Yes.
Again, I'm not a 49er fan, so it's easy for me to say I don't blame the Seahawks one bit. It's your home field. It's your home field advantage. Y'all stay home. This is our place.
I know that I am very equal on the show when it comes to talking about teams because that's not my job to pump up my teams or fandom on this show.
I'll do it for you.
But in this way, in this time that I have to say this, I'm going to stick with Seahawk fans and say, look, this is the playoffs. This isn't a regular season game. This is something where you have got to do something to try to make that a complete home field advantage. Because even if there is a big section of Niners fans, which I know that had been mentioned too, that there is obviously a section where you can see on camera.
Yeah.
Niners fans are loud.
Yes, they are.
They are really loud. And so even if it is just a big section of them, they're loud. And I know that doesn't completely affect the game, but I mean, this is something you've worked for as a player and a coach to get home field advantage. And fans, you should be gracious for the fact that they did that. So I think you have to do what you got to do to protect home field advantage. And I know they had even mentioned that I think King, one of the stations up there, King 5, they had mentioned that there might be penalties to season ticket holders for like being able to get season tickets moving forward if they sell so many of their tickets. So there is maybe a possibility they could give some penalties out for that too. I don't think that's needed because that shouldn't even be the mindset if you are a season ticket holder. Like just show up or give your tickets to Seahawks fans.
For years, the 12th man was deafening, right, up there in Seattle. And for years, that was considered to be, at least this is how I remember it. I could be wrong, but I remember it was like if you're playing up in Seattle, Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to learn how to be able to communicate with your team and run an offense without being able to hear or talk to anybody.
That and Arrowhead.
Arrowhead was like that for a while too, but it just got so loud there. And again, Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong. In those famous 49ers Seahawks battles when it was Michael Crabtree and Richard Sherman almost coming to blows on the field, right? I'm sure there were Niner fans there.
Of course.
But I don't remember anything remotely close to a takeover that impacted that true 12th man home field advantage that the Seahawks had. And look, when the Niners go down and play the Rams every year in LA, SoFi Stadium is a sea of red.
It always is a sea of something.
Is. And I'm a Raider fan who has to watch every home game, air quotes, home game for the Raiders is just a sea of the opposing team's fans because that's what the Raiders built for themselves in Las Vegas. They are the touristy team to where, hey, Chiefs fans, it's freezing cold right now where you live. Come to Las Vegas, have a great weekend, get a little warmer, and enjoy your team beating the you-know-what out of the Raiders on our home field. Like I'm a little wounded when it comes to seeing opposing teams' fans. So I'm all for Seattle. If they want to bar the gates to make sure 49ers fans and the faithful can't get in, that's 100% their prerogative to do so.
I also think spending time in a place where it's, Nashville, where I cover the Titans, it's a transplant city. And especially because the Titans have just been so bad for a long time, even when Vrabel was there and got them a little better, I cannot tell you how many times the opposing teams during those really dark times were outnumbering Titans fans. It was crazy because everybody wants to go there to see their team. And so it became normal for Titans fans to just accept it. But, that's different from Seattle where they've had winning and they have kind of like a culture there that has been built. And even when things have gone through a little bit of a lull, there's no excuse then if you're going to brag about being a Seahawks fan and brag about being loyal, then you better show up at the freaking games.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see this like half stuff that goes on in LA. Like if you're a Seahawks fan, you show up even when the times aren't a little, great because that's what you've built.
Right.
The 12th man.
Yeah, and the LA thing is kind of a bad example too by me because LA for so many years didn't have a team, and there's a lot of Raider fans down there because it was the LA Raiders.
Right.
And, how many Rams fans are there really with that organization coming from St. Louis? But I mean, what you're saying is absolutely right too because we don't really at Levi Stadium we don't really talk about an opposing fan problem at Levi Stadium because Niner Nation shows up.
Yeah,
they're always there. So there is that element too. Hey, if you want to keep us out, then show up yourself and buy tickets yourself. And we know how passionate that Seattle Seahawks fan base is. So I really don't think I'm going to notice it too much. But we're all tuning in to take a look at how bright is that red? How much red do we see?
Just the fact that it came out, that is actually a thing. Because I thought I was imagining things a couple years ago when I would tune into games that I would see nationally down, in Nashville that would show, and I could watch them. And I'm like, wait, why is all this red going on? Why are they so loud? Where are we at? Are we in Santa Clara? What are we doing?
They travel well.
They travel well. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the idea of restricting tickets? Because I know the Padres, when the Dodgers playoff series have gone on, the Padres fan over here is excited about it. The Padres would only allow resale of their own tickets to people with certain area codes. Like you had to put in your address when you bought tickets, and if you weren't in a certain area code, you couldn't buy resale tickets.
Yeah, I am not the person to even know what's legal and what's not. It's hard to. I mean, you're selling fans tickets to your game on your property, I suppose. But in theory, once the fan purchases the ticket, it's their property to do with what they deem fit. Yeah. It's above my pay grade, but I don't have any I don't have any problem with if it's your home field, you regulate it like it's your home field, and you don't want. I would not, if I was a Padres fan, I wouldn't want any Dodger blue in my stadium, especially during a playoff game.
But they weren't even giving them the choice. Obviously, if it's a third party, they can't control it.
Right.
But at least for season ticket holders, they're like, you can't resell your tickets unless it's to someone who lives there, which I thought was great. These billion-dollar franchises are actively choosing to lose money to try and preserve some semblance of home field advantage. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I think the Seahawks should also do that. They should say, If you don't live in a certain place, you can't buy resale tickets for the game.
It's their prerogative to do so. We had a caller earlier on the show that talked about how he's from Seattle, but he was a Niner fan because he was there before the Seattle Seahawks were a thing and before the Seattle Mariners were a thing. So I wonder how many of those are still up there that call themselves Niner fans. And I'm sure there's been plenty of Niner fans that have moved to the Bay up north.
Because it was at Brian yesterday. He said that. He goes, there's a ton of Niner fans up here.
Yeah.
Still.
So maybe the area code thing wouldn't work. They'll just keep showing up.
Well, it's imperfect, but in theory,
no red allowed. If you have to wear blue or green or that whatever. If you're showing up, there's no way they can.
By the way, at some point, I need to hear "Double Down."
Oh no, you don't.
No. Oh, we can make that happen,
Matt's
Kayla.
a rap because I like rap and R&B,
Nope.
and so. But to know that you write and you know.
Oh, look at the time. We got to end the show. oh man, we have 20 minutes left. Dang it.
You know what, Kayla? When he least expects it, I'm gonna come back from a segment with we could do. Hold on. So there's the thing. There's. Double Down is the follow-up to The Kings Don't Need Luka, just in case you were wondering, Kayla. So.
Oh, there's two?
Yeah, he did the original was about how the Kings don't need Luka because they have Marvin Bagley. The Double Down was the Kings still don't need Luka. They still have Marvin Bagley. This was long after it was very clear that Luka was going to be a superstar.
He's like Homer Simpson going into the bushes right now.
And there goes
going into the microphone.
There goes all the respect my co-host had for me.
By the way, Kayla, every few months, Freezing Cold Takes will repost the quote tweet of Matt every time Luka does something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're like viral, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's still one of the most viewed videos on our station.
Thanks, Kyle.
You know who you can blame for this.
It was a good run. It was a great run. The Matt and Kayla Show comes to an end today. We made it 3 days. That's pretty darn good. It was fun content that I made back in the day for a sports take that definitely holds up, is definitely perfect. And whatever you do, don't ask Whitey Gleason and Alan Stiles about it. Whitey Gleason actually makes good music. I don't. Whitey makes great music. He's an artist. I am not.
Well, I didn't know this as much about. I knew he played a little guitar.
Yeah, he makes some parody songs every once in a while for the Sacramento Kings that you can catch out. But his aren't like, let's make fun of him. His are like, oh wow, that was good. And you hear mine, you're like, not enough brain cells. Like I never get those couple minutes of my life back. But yes, there was once upon a time a very short-lived rap career of one Matt George. Here at Sactown Sports. I thought I was past that, but I can never escape. I can never, ever escape. Well, we're going to take the break. When we come back, we do have our good friend Whitey Gleason and our also really good friend Alan Stiles. It's day 3 of the brand new The Drive guys, and they're getting us ready, taking us all the way up to game night right before Kings and Knicks. That's next, right here on Sactown Sports.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
The Sactown Sports 49ers Report is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville, located beside the Vacaville outlets. Niners pull off the big-time upset in Philly, defeating the defending champs 23-19. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in the win. The D comes up with a stop in the final minute to secure the win. Niners now travel to Seattle on Saturday for a divisional round playoff game. Catch that game right here on Sactown Sports 1140, beginning at 4 o'clock.
Football season is here at Kia of Vacaville. You can score big in a new 2025 Kia Niro LX with up to 53 mpg combined at Kia of Vacaville. Perfect for road trips, tailgates, and cruising to Levi Stadium in style and comfort. But don't wait. Inventory is limited at Kia of Vacaville, and these deals won't last long. Visit KiaVacaville.com or stop by right next to the Vacaville outlets for friendly service, easy shopping, and unbeatable value. All in one stop. Kia of Vacaville, where the adventure begins.
Get as loud as you can for Monster Jam!
The one and only Monster Jam. Packed with stunts, smiles, and jaw-dropping skills. See the world's best drivers tear up the dirt in your favorite Monster Jam trucks. Like Gravedigger, El Toro Loco, Megalodon, and more. Only at Monster Jam. Coming to Golden One Center January 23rd through 25th. Brought to you by BKT Tires. Savings available on select opening night tickets.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. I got to tell you, I am so excited to get this decking project started with Trex Decking and Railings. From the first time I stepped foot in the showroom last week, I was so impressed. So many color options, heat-resistant composite deck. What does that mean? That means I don't have to do any maintenance on it whatsoever. They even have a deck designer, so you can go online and see what your dream deck will look like on your house. Just visit Trex, that's TREX.com to get it started. Tell them Carmichael Dave sent you.
It's Matt George and Kayla Anderson on Sactown Sports 1140.
And now we stall as the wonderful Alan Stiles gets all set up. So that means we get to talk to Wyche Gleason.
Hello.
Always good.
Yes,
Whitey,
Mr. Stiles needs a few moments.
Whitey,
you certainly earned them.
How long is it going to be until we see some sort of duet between Wyche Gleason and Alan Stiles on the drive, guys?
I've been trying to get Alan to get on board with the project, and my people are talking to his people. It's not close, but I'd say we're working on it.
I've heard Alan Stiles has a crazy talent fee.
Yeah, I've heard.
Do you sing, Alan? Because I would love to hear it.
I mean, I do it all, but
I thought so.
I guess it depends. Yeah, what exactly you're
There have been stories
asking.
of Alan at the karaoke bar.
Can we do a karaoke night? Because I actually can sing.
Heck yeah. We
And
should.
I would love to.
We absolutely
You
should.
can
I would
sing.
school all of you.
Is that why you were originally in Nashville?
Heck no.
I'm just saying, it's a music.
I don't like country music.
Okay.
What when you say you can sing, like what's the background? Like did you do
Just
theater?
me.
Let's just do karaoke right now.
No,
We could.
What music do you want?
Go.
I realized,
licensing
and
rules.
that's what's always hard because when I go to a karaoke bar, I feel like there's all these songs I want to sing, and I have not gone to karaoke in a while. But I always go to that Black Velvet song.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yep.
and that's the one
Ooh,
that I go to.
That's pretty good.
So
if
if
you
we
can
do a
sing that.
karaoke night,
Okay.
I think we should put that on the
But
schedule.
did you do
Okay.
any like
No.
in high school? You
No,
never did anything like
so
singing or anything like that?
I did do choir
Choir.
as a kid at church,
Mhm. Nice.
and then this voice teacher discovered that she could do something with me. But
Nice.
then I was too much of a sports fanatic. I'd rip my vocal cords. She'd get mad at me and say, "You're ripping your vocal cords. You can't sing like that. You
Kayla
have
Anderson
to stop screaming."
is doing the national anthem at tonight's Kings game. If you buy tickets, no.
I did that at
Would
my
you?
school assembly.
Oh well, we gotta get it. We gotta get in the Golden
I
One
would
Center.
not do it in the Golden One Center.
What about Sutter Health Park?
I forgot the words. At
We know
one
a guy.
part- At
Yeah,
one point.
we can figure that out.
We know a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped and forgot the words at my school assembly.
We have them up for you.
Oh no.
Yeah, we have them on the screen for you, so that can't happen.
It's not as bad
Again.
as if you were in front of the whole school in a rap-off and you just shut down and dropped the mic and walked off and had nothing like some people.
It wasn't that simple.
Oh my goodness.
It wasn't that
Alan, tell me
simple.
more.
Was it diss or was it?
No, it wasn't that simple. It was logistics. It was a logistical issue, and me choosing, I guess the higher ground, we'll say, which I tend to do a lot these days, Whitey.
Yeah,
I tend to do a lot these days.
I don't believe you.
We told the story yesterday.
Okay.
Oh shoot.
But,
Okay, I'll ask you off air.
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He told the story.
Oh, it's a story. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we have to.
Speaking
tune
of
in.
stories, Matt, pardon me, but I thought I was over all the Mike Brown stuff.
Yeah.
And I like Mike Brown a lot, like you. And I thought, all right, I'm okay with it. I've come to terms with it. But then hearing some of your stories again today,
I know. A tear.
I felt it a little bit
tear.
again.
It's going to be the first time that I've seen Mike since he the day he was fired. And I know a large Kings media contingent is very much looking forward to his pregame media availability. So at the Golden One Center, they have the big press conference room where Doug does his stuff and they bring all the Kings out. And then there's a smaller room that's not quite a closet, but it's very tight in there where they do visiting media. And I think they should just bring Mike to the big podium and then put their own like Knicks background up, because everybody's going to want to talk to him. He's that much of a character. He's that much of a personality, and he had connections with so many different media members here during his time in Sacramento. Plus, we just like hearing him talk basketball. So I hope they don't shove him in that small little room, or it's going to get tight in there.
Alan, did you cover him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it was right when you got here.
That was the year after the Beam team.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think he's going to get special treatment.
I don't think he's going to get special treatment, but I think...
Well, you're trying to put him in this big room.
Well, yeah, because there's only so many people that can... So they did it for David... They did it for David Adelman. When David Adelman took over for Michael Malone, when he was fired, the Kings played the Nuggets either that night or the next night, and David Adelman's introductory press conference, or his first press conference as head coach, they moved to that room because they knew there was a lot of media there, national media too, that had come in to talk to him about.
Speaking of David Adelman, and you may know this already, but it was a while ago when Rick Adelman came back for the first time as a coach of the Rockets.
Yep,
they didn't do nothing for him. They didn't even. They just announced him.
Like, here's Rick.
That was different management then, different ownership.
Yeah.
And coach of the Rockets, Rick Adelman.
I think Rick probably preferred that though.
Maybe, but
I don't remember.
He deserved a lot more.
Yeah, of course he did. You know where the Piglet statue is in Doco?
Do I? Yes.
I know my opinion. I don't even have to ask his opinion on
replace
the
Piglet statue with a Rick Adelman statue.
You had me at replace the Piglet statue.
Oh, okay. It could be anything?
Yes.
It could be literally anything. Your thoughts on the Piglet statue, Alan Stiles?
Whatever Whitey thinks.
Good. Smart. Good co-host.
Alan.
Whatever Whitey thinks.
Alan's scarred. Not going to do it again.
What?
Well, you already tried to get rid of the beam once upon a time. You're not trying to get rid of anything else.
I asked a question.
That's how we bonded, how we became friends.
That's right.
Wait, I have heard that story.
Yep.
I simply ask questions. That's all I do. That's all I've ever done.
Some questions we shouldn't ask when we first come into a city from the Bay, but
I think Sacramento needed it. Yeah, I think Sacramento needed it.
You got the response.
And
you got me.
I was never wrong. Just early.
All right.
Oh, by the way, I did see the Rockets thing for the first time actually on social media last night. It made me want to throw up in my mouth.
It's horrible.
It's bad.
It's
I'm sorry, you guys. That is so freaking cheesy.
Yeah.
Right.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, pretty bad.
It's pretty bad.
We've actually gotten Light the Beam actual chants before the game has ended these last two games. It's been, I don't remember any time this season that we've been able to chant Light the Beam, or fans have been able to chant Light the Beam before. That used to tick Mike Brown off, by the way. Even if the Kings were up 20, he would be like, don't chant until there's 5 seconds left. He hated it.
How are you on this? Alan and I disagree on this. I think he may have the right of it, but I'm getting a little nervous with the wins.
Yeah?
I asked Deuce Mason about that.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just me, and maybe there's plenty. Alan says, there's plenty of time, and he's right, but I get a little nervous with back-to-back wins.
I felt like wins to get you through this horrible season. Some wins are needed, and it felt good to beat the Lakers, that's for sure, and to beat the Rockets twice for some reason, because the Rockets, I guess, just can't beat the Kings. But, yeah, now we're at the point where it's like, okay, you can lose to Mike Brown tonight. It's okay. Give him his moment, and then be competitive, and then you can lose to Mike Brown tonight. Because the Wizards are right behind you, knocking on the door of that third and final best lottery odds spot. Don't give that up.
Yeah, we were talking about softball yesterday and creating a softball team, and it kind of reminds me of those rules where you wait until the bases are loaded to hit the home run because you only get so many. I think using it against the Lakers was fine. If you want to get one against the Warriors, that's fine. This one tonight, you got to pick and choose your spots here if you're the Kings, because they've been so good at winning games. We should definitely worry about it.
So who's getting DMP'd?
Well, nobody. They all have to play 40 minutes.
I can't relate at all to being on a team where we could choose when to hit the home run.
We were playing a co-ed softball game once years ago, Alan, to your point. I'll never forget this, and you reminded me. We're up 1 run. It's the bottom of the last inning. The other team has the bases loaded. It's a co-ed game, and this big guy comes up, and he crushes a drive to left center field. It's like, well, that's the game. It went over the fence. That was an out. So we won on the other team hitting a grand slam home run, because in co-ed in that league, you couldn't hit it over the fence. So we walked them off by them hitting a grand slam home run.
I'm sure you felt good about that win.
Yeah.
Did you do a whole celebration right in front of him as he
It was
crossed
just so
home
weird.
plate?
It's like, oh no, that's good.
That's good. Okay.
If there's a way to lose, that's the best way to lose possible. If you're being honest, if we're being honest,
I guess so.
The best possible way to lose. Well, yeah, I just hope for a competitive game tonight. I hope Mike Brown gets the ovation that I feel that he deserves. It's not going to be like a De'Aaron Fox situation, but you can't really also do like a tribute video for Mike Brown, because what do you show him? Like him doing the Run the Jets thing and then him yelling? Like that's
on the bench.
That's about it.
Yeah, he deserves one, but it would be weird when you fired him to do that. That's kind of awkward.
What if they show the video of him with the laptop incident? That's just all they play. It's just him pointing to the laptop.
I'd be down with that. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen the Kings beat the Knicks since I took this job and moved out here, so I feel like everyone is safe. It hasn't even been close. I don't even think they've had a close game against the Knicks, so I think we're okay tonight.
They've also been staying here for it seems like a week, so it's not like they've had to
Hotel
get on.
gate.
They're like just chilling in the Kimpton.
Yeah, why not?
Enjoying the
Half the
sights
team
and
is now
sounds,
eligible
golfing.
to vote in Sacramento. That's how long they've been here. So.
That's so true.
Well, you guys are both baseball guys. We finally got some baseball into the show today, and we talked really briefly about the Kansas City Royals moved their outfield in 10 feet.
Yeah.
Kauffman Stadium, one of the few pitchers ballparks left, and I know the Giants did this recently, right? But what do you make of more ballparks just leaning into home runs is what sells, so we're just going to make our ballpark better for home runs?
I mean, I think it depends what you want. The Giants changed it, but it's still not a hitter's ballpark.
Sure.
So there's only so much you can do. I think they already brought in the triples outlet, and they might bring it. They're not going to bring it in more, but they could. I think whatever is clever, man. More home runs, the better, because if they're not going to change their swings and, the strikeouts, the pop-ups, I don't really mind it, because if you can build these ballparks to whatever dimensions and within reason anyway, then you should change it when you want to change it. When I was at Kenyatta, we would change it based on who we were playing. If it was on the fence, or on the net, and the coach didn't like who we were playing, I'd go over the net. If he thought the team was trash, he would say it could hit the net. Yeah. It's your field. Do it.
I'd like to volunteer the final 45 seconds of this show to Kayla Anderson singing this song.
I said if you want to do it, we'll go to karaoke. Karaoke.
Karaoke.
Karaoke.
You ever done that karaoke?
Yeah. I'm bringing back from the South, baby.
Well, before we wrap up, guys, what do we got coming up on the show before Kings Knicks tonight?
What do you got, Alan? You got anything for us?
Well, obviously,
you got DAP Watch.
We got DAP Watch. That's very important. Who daps up who with Mike Brown? We are talking to Ian Begley. That's at 2:30. So we have that coming up for you, and obviously all the Jake Fisher stuff with Domantas Sabonis. As they continue to say, the Kings don't want any long-term contracts. Let me tell you, that probably also includes Domantas Sabonis.
We shall see. We shall see. Looking forward to the show, leading us all the way up to Kings basketball tonight. Matt and Kayla will be back with you tomorrow to recap whatever happens tonight. Plus, we're one step closer to Niners and Seahawks. Very excited about that. Have yourselves a great day. We'll see you on the drive, guys. Coming up next on Sactown Sports.
Yay!
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe.